I don't have the desire to play, to be a player, but I still enjoy being around the game, and I enjoy talking about the game. So it's never that, oh, I want a uniform. No, I think that's out of me. I think, maybe in a couple more years it comes back. I've had little moments where I can still knock that shot down, stuff like that, but not be a player. I can't imagine right now.
Walk through an arena with him and experience what that's like. People want to talk to Vince Carter. They want to be around Vince Carter. He's always had this magnetic personality, and it showed in his day-to-day playing career. You could see how many players just wanted to dap him up and get that $1 million smile. So none of this is by accident. I think Vince has been building towards this his entire career, and the fact that he's doing it with the Nets just seems like it was meant to be.
Want to keep your hairline where it is? Through Hims.com, you can explore a range of options that work best for you, so you can grow visibly thicker and fuller hair in just 3 to 6 months. Keep it looking strong for years to come with doctor-trusted ingredients like finasteride, minoxidil, and a blend of supplements that support healthy hair. 3 in 4 Hims customers say they wish they started using hair treatment earlier. Get ahead now to keep the hair you love. Get started today at Hims.com.
Let's explore your future with Udemy. You can learn how to program and build websites, study design and create logos, improve your presentation skills, and sell your ideas. With Udemy, you can learn practical skills from thousands of online courses taught by real-world experts. Explore your future. Udemy.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this gorgeous Tuesday. It's July 2nd. It's 2024. It's Michael and Peter until 6:30. Don is off this week. Well-deserved week off after that bravura performance that he gave at the Beach Bash on Friday. Peter, how you doing, my friend?
A little frustrated because I can't find my regular glasses, but I'm okay.
Well, you have on the Dahmers.
These are one of the Dahmers. They're not the right ones, Michael.
You look terrific anyway. This is the start.
Found them. I found them, babe.
Beautiful.
Now I'm ready, Michael.
One of the most important weeks in our station's history.
All right. I'm interested. You got me curious.
I got a show with Peter today.
Solo.
Me and Peter tomorrow.
That's right.
Then the country celebrates its birthday Thursday. And then, I love Don and Peter. You know that. You know I love me some Don and Peter. But Friday, from 3 to 6:30,
yummy,
is K Solo.
Your favorite, man. You love it.
Oh, my goodness. I'm planning. I'm bringing in big-name guests. It's unbelievable. Because I saved the big name for these solo shows. There's so few of them.
Who are you bringing in?
You know what? You're going to have to wait and see. And then it doesn't stop there, Petey.
Go ahead.
Then Monday, from 10 until noon.
Oh, you want to talk yummy.
On 10:50 a.m. only, not on 98.7. Because we want you to get into the habit of 10:50 a.m.
Ray Rowe.
It's going to be me and Rick DiPietro for 2 hours.
Crap. Are you kidding?
No, I'm not. And
but Michael, you got to answer something for me,
please.
Why would it be on 10:50 a.m.?
Because that's where we're eventually going to shift. at the end of August. So we want to get people into the habit of knowing what 1050 is.
I love it. And how do you, what bigger way to start that off?
No, there's no bigger way
than a yummy broadcast between the K-Ster and the DPH. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And we've got things planned, like I am going to unearth, just for the day, the Woodgie game, because I think that Rick will be true to it and answer it truly.
The way it's supposed to be.
Right, instead of like you and Don being politically correct and just killing the game in his wake.
You want it to be played the way God intended, is what I'm saying.
And then he's going to do, what is it called? The hug, marry, kill, or?
Hug, marry, trash, I think they do.
Cuddle, marry, kill. He's going to play that with me.
No, it's trash. They don't kill.
Oh. Hug, marry, trash.
There you go.
So it's going to be great. I mean, wow. A week like none other on this great station.
It's a big moment. You know, I thought yesterday was very big in the history and future of the station with myself and Ty Butler.
Ty was good, I heard.
Yeah, there's a lot of industry chatter today about the two of us. It was something.
Really? You think it could go further?
Listen, I've been a big fan of Ty for a long time. I'm a big believer in what he brings to the station. And I thought we had a hell of a time. Anthony, you thought it was a great show, didn't you?
Tremendous show.
But here's the question. If you do this show with Ty, then all of a sudden, you're the elder statesman. Now you're the whippersnapper, which I think you like that role. All of a sudden, you have to change yourself. You got to be the wizened old veteran, grizzled veteran.
Listen, it's we all have to move on. You know, we all have to grow at certain times of our life. And
gotcha.
I'm ready to be the elder statesman for that young, handsome, and incredible shape whippersnapper known as Ty Butler.
Excellent. All right, let's get right to it. We got so much stuff to do today, and I haven't had a chance to ring in on the Nick move of, or it wasn't really their move. I give them total credit. They did what they are contractually able to do, and they offered Hartenstein $72 million for 4 years. That's all they could offer him because they only have early bird rights. They don't have bird rights for him because he'd only been there 2 years. It's kind of unfair the way the CBA is structured. The Knicks took a guy who really was a borderline nothing player and developed him into something that is really, really good. And they wanted to keep him, but they could not keep him. So OKC jumped in and made this great offer where the first year he's going to make $29 million. And it's funny because I even said this when I was speaking to Alan Hahn at the Beach Bash. He could love the Knicks all he wants. And I think it was tough for him. But it wasn't as tough as people are saying. Yeah, he loved the Knicks. They have a chance to win a championship. It's wonderful to live in New York and play as a New York Knick. But when the other team is probably closer to a championship than the Knicks, OKC is that close, and they offer you incredible money that you never dreamed. He's going to make more the first year that he's made his entire career in the NBA. You think it was a tough call for him, Peter? Do you think he sweated it over and talked with his wife and said, I don't know what to do? Of course he knew what to do. You take the OKC offer, and I don't blame him. He didn't desert the Knicks. He gave the Knicks 2 great years, and they gave him $18 million. It's a business transaction.
I don't think it was hard for anyone, Michael.
Well, I think it's hard for the Knicks. I don't think it's...
Not when they heard the number, it wasn't.
No. But they couldn't get to that number anyway. So it was a no-brainer for them.
So, but what I'm saying is my thought was they had the same thought I did. We'd really love to keep Isaiah Hartenstein. Wait, how much did you say he was able to get? Okay, bye-bye.
Right.
That's it. I'm sorry, Michael. Here's what I was saying yesterday, and maybe you think I'm a fool. 2 years ago, Knick fans couldn't pick Isaiah Hartenstein out of a lineup, okay? He wasn't a player they even knew about. He has done a great job here. I think Tom Thibodeau, by the way, deserves a lot of credit.
And his staff.
And his staff for what they do with sort of lower-end, middle-of-the-road players. But, Michael, you're telling me Tom Thibodeau and his staff can't do it again and find someone close to do what Isaiah Hartenstein could do? They cannot find someone to maybe get close to 8 points and 7 or 8 rebounds, especially if hopefully you're getting more minutes from Mitchell Robinson so you won't expect as much, and you're getting Randall back? Michael, I'm sorry. It's a bummer to lose him, but if this is the biggest loss from the offseason, consider this a win for the Knicks.
I lean toward agreeing with you, probably more lean. I do agree with you. I'm kind of shocked at, the abject fear of experts and Knicks fans that they lost Isaiah Hartenstein. He's really good, and he fit into the culture. And I like him better than I like Mitchell Robinson because he can play some offense. He works the pick and roll beautifully. But Mitchell Robinson is a far superior defender, and all you have to do is keep him on the court for 65 games, and that's a win. Now, they also need a backup center. Could it be Jericho Sims? There's word out there that they might be interested in Utah's Walker Kessler, a good player, and Nick Richards, another decent player. So they might get a guy for a lot less than the $17 million. And don't forget Precious Achiuwa. I know he's 6'8", 6'9", and they need some size against Embiid, but is it a blow? I think a blow is a little bit too strong for losing Hartenstein. It stinks. Let's put it that way, because they developed this guy, and he fit in nicely playing alongside Mitchell Robinson. And he got more minutes because Mitchell Robinson got hurt. Okay, stop. But does it derail them? No. Now, they're running out of free agent options, and I get it, but they could make trades. And as Peter said, maybe they develop somebody else. It's like what the Yankees do with pitchers in the bullpen. No one wanted Michael Tonkin. No one. Now, he's one of the better relief pitchers in baseball since he became a Yankee. He was released 3 times. So good organizations that are good at a certain thing can continue to do that thing. All right, so they lose Hartenstein. They didn't even have a choice. Well, would we give him the same money that Oklahoma City's giving him? Because they couldn't. They're not allowed to. They went up to the level that they're allowed to, and that's all that they could do. But here's my worry. What's happening in the East, everybody got better. Everybody. Paul George is not an insignificant acquisition for the Sixers. If you get a healthy Embiid, and now you have Paul George as another option, along with Maxey, did the Sixers get closer to the Celtics than the Knicks? Did they? So that's one issue. Then you've got the Cavaliers. Cavaliers retained Donovan Mitchell, signed him to a big 3-year deal with a second-year opt-out. So he can opt out after the second season, which means that he could sign that max contract, maybe get over $60 million a year. So they certainly were in the hunt last year for that second season. It looked like they lost on purpose. They're not going away. And you know what? They have a better coach. Kenny Atkinson, to me, is a better coach. So agreed. I think that makes them better. And now, Alan Hahn uses this phrase all the time, Donovan Mitchell has 10 toes down in Cleveland. He knows he's there for at least 2 years. At least. And he also knows he doesn't fit into the Knicks plan anymore. He wanted to play for the Knicks. Well, the way the Knicks have progressed, Donovan Mitchell no longer fits. He got wind of that. He knows it. He signed a 3-year, $150.3 million extension with the Cavs, and he could get out after the second year and get even more money. If he wants to play in New York, he's going to have to play for the Nets. He's not going to play for the Knicks. So he probably thinks, now we got a good coach. We got a pretty good roster. I'm going to stay here. So he's got 10 toes down in Cleveland. I think that makes them better. I think there was always that wariness. Gee, is he going to leave? Is he all in? Well, now we know he's all in for at least 2 years. Now the Cavaliers have to do what they have to do. The East is a beast.
I like that, what you did.
And I'm not sure. I think getting Bridges was gigantic for the Knicks, and it made them better. But, Peter, they were still 12 games less than the Celtics. So you're going to get a healthy Randall. You got Bridges, who never misses a game. OG Anunoby, you hope that he's healthy. At least he could play 65 games. Could he give us that? And now your bench is so much better. Your bench is DiVincenzo and Hart. which is the way they planned it. So the one question mark is the center position. There's some teams that you don't have to worry about a center position. The Celtics might not have Porzingis for a while, Peter, after the surgery. And even with Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, there's nobody in basketball other than maybe Wembanyama that can really guard Porzingis. And you got Embiid. So the Knicks are going to have bodies to throw at Embiid. He's a beast. So I'm just worried. I love what the Knicks did with Bridges. They overpaid for him. I'm not going to lie about that, but I would have made the deal. I think the Sixers got a lot better. A lot better.
I don't hate this take. I'll tell you, the one take I absolutely hate is our pinhead suit John Winthrop feeling like losing Bogdanovich and Hartenstein, is that worth losing Mikal Bridges, which you didn't even know you had Bogdanovich, Michael. And if you can't replace someone like Hartenstein, I'm sorry, you're not a team that has championship metal anyway. I will take the massive talent that Mikal Bridges is and accept the losses they've had so far in this offseason. But you're right. To me, the bigger concern is how good did everybody get around you? Because even though you're a really good team, everybody is equally sort of somewhat distanced from the Celtics. And with the additions that Cleveland and Philly make, are they now like a half step closer maybe than the Knicks? It's a fair point.
And the team that should be worried would be Milwaukee. They didn't do anything. Now they're going to have Doc Rivers for the full year. We'll see. But they didn't play better with Doc Rivers when he took over. So it's interesting. As for Bogdanovich, non-factor, Peter. You know why? If they didn't trade him, they would not have picked up his option. He would not have come back anyway. This was a one and done. And Leon Rose and his staff very smartly used that salary to acquire Bridges. You think the Nets wanted Bogdanovich? So, no, that doesn't concern me. The only concern I have is Hartenstein, but not to the extent that people are freaking out about that. It's just no.
I get it. Listen, people love him. That's great. But that doesn't make him not replaceable.
I like him too. But, I mean, the world didn't end. Yeah, I mean, did you get better adding Bridges and losing Hartenstein? Yes, you did.
Absolutely.
Get another big body, continue to develop Jericho Sims, maybe bring back Precious Achua, who doesn't have the height and the length that you need to combat Embiid, but he's got the strength. So we'll see. They could still bring him back. They have his early bird rights. It's been an interesting time. And then Klay Thompson leaves the Warriors and goes to the Mavericks. And it was interesting what came out today. I don't know if you saw this, Peter. Klay Thompson went to Steph and said, under no circumstances do you use your power to make them keep me. He said, if they want to keep me, I want them to want to keep me, not because you said you better keep me. So Steph gave him his word, and you know what? They didn't want him. And then he signed, a fairly reasonable deal with the Mavericks.
Well, I mean, fairly reasonable, Michael. Listen, I know he's old, right? But isn't it still crazy that Isaiah Hartenstein's getting $28 million and you can get Klay Thompson for 15?
It's odd. But I think that OKC looked at it and said, this is the missing piece. We could pair him up with Chet Holmgren, and he plays better defense and can rebound. Holmgren can give them great offense. So I think that Presti looked at that and said, this is the last piece. So they went to his home right at the deadline for free agency to start, and they sold him on this. So I don't think it was ever a tough decision for Hartenstein. Not at that money. Sorry. Got to be crazy. You got to be crazy. He did his part for his 2 years, $18 million with the Knicks, and the Knicks did their part. They paid him, and they developed him into a player that got that kind of money. And, Peter, if you look at the history of Tom Thibodeau, he's done this with other players, and they get their bag after playing for him. And I think other players are going to look at it and go, wow, if I could play for the Knicks and be developed by Tom Thibodeau, I'm going to get my money maybe somewhere else. But it's a dumb rule that the NBA has, a dumb rule that you could develop a player and then you're hamstrung in keeping him. Stinks. Awful. Awful, I tell you. Hey, it's game time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey.
Go ahead.
Yankees start a series with the Reds at the stadium at 7:05. The Mets continue their series with the Nationals at 6:45. And the Liberty host the Lynx at 7. I should say Peter Rosenberg's Liberty hosts the Lynx at 7.
Thank you very much.
Game Time brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the brand new Tullamore Dew Honey during tonight's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Before we get to your calls, I do want to talk about the Celtics being put up for sale. So in 2002, Wick Grossbeck and Steve Pagliuca and a group of investors, they purchased the Celtics for $360 million. So that's 22 years ago. Well, Grossbeck said that they're putting the team up for sale. In all likelihood, they're going to get $5.5 to $6 billion, because you can make the argument that that might be the most valuable franchise in the NBA. The Lakers could say it's them. The Knicks could say it's them. The Celtics have 18 championships. You're buying their legacy, the whole deal. And I think that what's happening right before our eyes, and I think you're going to see this in a lot of sports, Peter.
Our very eyes.
Our very eyes. Individual investors, individual people that own teams probably can't play in these waters anymore. The money is crazy. The money that they just ponied up for Tatum after giving the money for Brown over and over and over again. All the money that they've invested, now they're going to be over the second apron, and they're probably going to pay $150 to $200 million in tax. So Grossbeck probably said, you know what? Since I've owned the team, we've won 2 championships, I'm good. In the words of Don LaGreca, I'm good. Mark Cuban did the same thing. And this is with a league where the television deal is going to skyrocket. But the players continue to make all this money. They slipped into the CBA, one apron, second apron, all these taxes to hold it down even more, because with the bird rights, teams could blow through that. But now there are ramifications. And I think some of the ramifications are, I'm out. I can't do this as an individual. I think you're going to see a lot of individuals that own teams probably looking at this might be the time to cash out. Now, the values of franchises never seem to go down. It's an arrow that points straight up. But imagine, Peter, you have the Celtics that are poised to roll off maybe a couple more championships in the next 5 years, and you're out. Shows you what smart investors think. This is the best time for me to get out. Because I think what you're going to get is corporations buying teams like they're doing in the NFL, and like what they did in L.A. with the Dodgers. And I think that those are the types of investors that can afford these kind of salaries. The salaries are through the roof now. And I think investors are saying, I can't play in these waters. The Guggenheim partners in L.A., they can. Steve Cohen is an individual investor, but he's got $20 billion behind him from his other company. So he's got the money like a corporation does. It's an interesting turn of events, Peter, that somebody would sell a team that is so close to rolling off another couple of championships. But that's what they're doing, and it's going to be really interesting to see.
It struck me. You know, it just sort of came out of nowhere to me. Once I think about it and hear everything you're saying, Michael, you think about salaries, the influx of Saudi money that we're probably going to be looking at across sports. I see many reasons why the ownership would have thought this just isn't a worthwhile play. Wick and Grousbeck, it makes sense to me. But as a fan, it troubles me. Because as much as they will tell you, hey, listen, Brad Stevens is in place, this organization is going to be fine. Michael, ownership affects teams. I mean, how much across the teams here that we root for in this town do we see fans talk about, complain about, obsess over the ownership groups? So I don't know, man. On some level, to be in such a great place and know that they're going to have that level of upheaval where ultimately someone else will be at the top, to me as a fan, that is scary. You don't know how that will affect a team moving forward.
Now, the only thing that would be an easy transition, Peter, for the Celtics is the other guy that bought in with Wick Grousbeck is Steve Pagliuca. And he wants to retain ownership. So he'll put together a group, and he'll probably be the lead guy, the governor, and then there wouldn't be that much of a transition.
Yes, if one of them stays on board, it certainly makes you a little bit more comfortable with the idea.
Absolutely. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to B in Brooklyn. B, start it off.
Hey, I want to say I think the Knicks should, with to solve Hartenstein's problem, I think the Knicks should get like veteran centers like Boogie Cousins, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard to fill those spots, because I don't think Robinson's going to last the season. I think we need at least 2 veteran centers. What do you think?
Well, I mean, you know, I've heard that before, like bring in Dwight Howard. I don't think if he fits the culture here. Dwight's better days are gone. I'm not sure that they would go that route. I mean, if you look at the guys they brought in, it doesn't seem like Dwight Howard would fit. Who knows? But I think they're going to go for the guy that's moderately priced, who's about 27, 28 years old. Like I talked about Kessler, who they would have to deal for, but they still have a lot of draft capital deal. Nick Richards is another guy that they could look into. The one thing I would say, Peter, I don't buy into that trust the process, but I do trust the guys running the Knicks. They knew they were going to lose this guy. They're not stupid. They knew Oklahoma City had a boatload of cap space, and they wanted him. So they planned. The only thing that, you know, would keep Hartenstein here is like a really dumb financial decision. He doesn't sound like a dumb guy. So they probably have been planning for this. So I think that they will find another big man. I would not write the Knicks off. That would not be my biggest concern. My biggest concern is what the 76ers just did. That's my biggest concern. 1-800-919-3776. We'll talk the Mets with another extra inning win. Yankees starting a series against the Reds. So many things to talk about. Egypt. Peter, we're going to talk about Egypt. Was that on your bingo card today that we're going to talk about Egypt?
No, honestly, I thought you know, maybe Uruguay or Bolivia or Panama. I wasn't even thinking Egypt.
Well, Uruguay might be mentioned. But Egypt is going to be big. It's going to be big.
Okay, I love Egypt talk.
There you go, I know. And you're well-versed in this. It's Kay, Rosenberg, and you, right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
With ButcherBox, you never have to worry about what's for dinner. We deliver grass-fed beef, organic free-range chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. Get high-quality meat sourced from trusted partners with free shipping always, so you can always be prepared and enjoy the important things. Sign up for ButcherBox today.
Away makes luggage and bags that make packing, compressing, cinching, zipping, sliding, and going easier than ever. Away.
We started to use Square. As we moved from one location to 2, we quickly realised that we needed better data so that we could customise the curation for each of the markets. Originally, we started with the KDS. By adding the Square Online for the full grocery offering, we hoped to grow sales about 20-25%. And we used the loyalty program, which has definitely generated a lot of repeat business. Since onboarding with Square, we've tripled the business. It's been fantastic.
With Home Chef's new family menu, cooking for the whole family is so simple. You go from step 1 to done with practically no fuss. Simply prep, cook, and enjoy with the whole family. Get 18 free meals today at homechef.com.
Beautiful ladies, loving it. Beautiful family, jealous. Bride is the best day of your life. There's that smile. That's a keeper. Let's get the lucky men in here, huh? Oh. All right, we got it. Groom's bed. Okay.
Some days are just too important for a trashy suit. Rent from thebblacktux.com.
There's an easier way. From repairs and cleaning to remodeling and more, Thumbtack makes it easy to care for your home. Download the Thumbtack app and start caring for your home today.
Put it on the rest. Put it on the rest. Put it on the rest.
Never read a line of poetry, I'm not a poet, but I sit up in the back of my buttons cause I'm fresh. Never read a book on how to rip it, I just saw it, I don't need your explanation cause I'm better than the rest. Better than the rest. rest. Better than the rest. Let me take you for a ride. I can make you feel alive.
In a Elantra for $179 a month, or get 3.49% APR, or up to $1,500 bonus cash. Hurry in and celebrate July 4th with a great deal.
Hi, I'm Eileen. I live in Vancouver, Washington, and I write mystery novels. As I was writing, I found that I just wasn't sharp, and that doesn't work when you're writing a mystery. And I knew I needed to do something. So I started taking Prevagen. I realized that I was much more clear, much sharper. I was remembering the details that I was supposed to. Prevagen keeps my brain working right.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
This is a keepsake frame. This is actually a photo from my wedding. I'm Adam Weiss, founder and CEO of Keepsake, the mobile app that makes it easy to have your photos printed, framed, and shipped to your doorstep. You just choose a photo that you love, you can preview it in over 100 frames, and in a couple of days, you're gonna receive your photo in a beautiful, handmade frame. So if you've got a special photo on your phone, install the free Keepsake app. We would love a chance to frame it for you.
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. This look at the probable pitchers for this series against the Reds is brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Luis Gil and Carlos Rodon have to be thrilled that June is over and July is beginning. A true turn-the-page moment for both Yankee starters. In their last 5 combined starts last month, the last 3 for Rodon and the last 2 for Gil, they have allowed a combined 32 earned in 19 1/3 innings of work. Now, Gil gets the first chance to erase that bad taste tonight, while Rodon will try to exorcise June tomorrow. Marcus Stroman will go in the series finale on Thursday afternoon, and the Reds aren't exactly setting the league on fire offensively. They are in the bottom third or near it in every major category. Our coverage for tonight's game begins with the batting practice show at 6, followed by the pregame at 6:30, and first pitch is scheduled for a little after 7. It's the Yankees and the Reds. Coverage starting at 6 with BPTV right here on Yes, and streaming, of course, on the Yes app.
Anthony Volpe at shortstop leads off, batting second. The right fielder Juan Soto. The DH is Aaron Judge today. What a June he had. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. He's batting third. Batting cleanup is the left fielder Alex Verdugo. Gleyber Torres at second base will bat fifth. Batting sixth, the first baseman Ben Rice. DJ LeMahieu at third base will bat seventh. Batting eighth and playing center field Trent Grisham. And Jose Trevino is behind the plate, and he's going to bat ninth. The Reds lead Major League Baseball with 123 stolen bases, and Ellie De La Cruz leads baseball with 40. So if they're going to get on base, it's going to be interesting to see how they fare. So that is the Yankees starting lineup. Luis Gil is going to start for them, brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Bigelow Tea is a proud supporter of the Michael K. Show and the official hot tea of the New York Yankees.
You give good lineup.
Let's go to Artie in Astoria.
Hi, Mike and Peter. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you, Artie?
I'm doing okay. Listen, first things first, I want to apologize to Peter because I'm the guy that called and said that Dallas was going to beat Boston. Obviously, that was incorrect. But I want to tell Peter, I called Anthony to tell him, but there's a watch company, TISSOT, that's selling Boston Celtic commemorative watch. It goes for about $600, and I thought Peter may be interested in that.
Wow. Peter doesn't have that kind of money.
Oh, okay. Mike, I have 3 Yankee questions. I know you're talking baseball, but I'll just give them to you, and then I'll hang up, and you can answer. What happens to ball players like when Torres and Sanchez first came up? They were just tremendous. I thought, we had a catcher and a second baseman like for the next 5 to 10 years. Number 2 is I know LeMahieu was starting to hit, but last year when he came back, he was hurt. He credited the hitting coach at the time, Sean Casey, for helping him out because he started to hit the home runs and things. And the third point I really like Ben Rice. I think he could be a terrific player. His swing hangs in at the plate. Now, he's also a catcher. So would there be any possibility of maybe him catching a game or two? Or you?
No, I don't. Thank you for the phone call. Or he's not going to catch while he's up here. He's here to play first base. They've got two catchers in Trevino and a lefty swinger like Rice and Austin Wells. So he's not going to catch up here, but his catching days are not behind him. Yankees still want him to catch, but right now he's going to play first base. What happened to Torres and Sanchez? It happens all the time. People get off to a great start in their career and they never reach levels that you thought they were going to reach. The league catches up with them. They don't make adjustments, and that's all there is to it. Now, Sanchez never turned out to be the player that the Yankees thought, and I think his pass balls started to get into his head because it turned the media and the fans against him. As for Torres, don't give up on Torres just yet. Now, I don't think he's going to be a Yankee after this, but 3 games in Toronto after being benched for 2 games, he got 2 hits each game, so maybe he starts to turn it around. I mean, you can't say he's been a complete flop. I know he had the 38 home runs, which was a home run year in baseball, but last year he had 25. Get 25 home runs out of your second baseman, you sign up for that. Let's go to Bernie in Las Vegas. Bernie.
Hi, how are you, Michael K?
What's up, Bernie?
Hey, Bern.
Okay, here's what's going on. Besides, today's my 72nd birthday.
Happy
I also
birthday.
grew up in your neighborhood, the Bronx, so thank you. Now, on Valentine Avenue. Now, listen, here's the real reason for the call. We have the AAA affiliate out here of the Oakland A's, and I go to games periodically, okay? And what they do here in the AAA, if you're a batter and the umpire calls it a strike when it should have been a ball, they get to appeal it. And guess what? All 4 times in that game, the umpire was overruled.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
I think, Bernie, that is going to be the system that eventually goes to Major League Baseball. And we thank you for the call. And I think they're just trying to refine the strike zone so they get it right. I will tell you this, be careful what you wish for. Because if you're going to call the 17-inch wide strike zone, and that's all you're going to call, and then you're going to define the strike zone from wherever you want to define it, from the sternum to the belt, you're going to have a lot of walks. You just are. You know, pitchers work off the corner, so if you're going to go specifically, a strike is a strike, even if it's an 1/8 of an inch outside, then that's what you're going to get. You're going to get games out of long again. You're going to get walk after walk after walk. I think it benefits the hitters. It does not benefit the pitchers. Now, if you are of the belief, and you could be, a strike is a strike is a strike, I don't care, fine. Well, you know what's going to happen? Pitchers got to come over that 17-inch strike zone, and they're going to get hit more. So if that's what baseball wants, improved offense, more offense, because offense is out of the game right now, then they might get that with an automatic strike zone. But that's the system that's going to end up being adapted for Major League Baseball. Let's go to JJ in North Carolina. It was so nice to meet him at the Beach Bash, wasn't it, Peter?
Lovely guy.
You guys are the best, man. It was a blast. I'm so glad I actually got to drive up. It was definitely worth it. This D.C. traffic was a horror show.
Apologies.
Hours after hours of bumper to bumper, but it's all right. I made it. But, yeah, big shout-out to Steve Brzezinski, the legend. He actually got me down and was helping me, get closer, and I bought the VIP thing and everything. So he's a shout-out to Steve. I couldn't have done it without him. He's the best.
He is an incredible human being.
The best. And, but, guys, it was incredible meeting you. I wish Don was here. He was an amazing guy. Can't believe, he actually gave me a hug and everything. It was so fun. And, Peter, I heard you're going to Big Liberty Guide, and I saw yesterday A Boogie with the hoodie was there. Did you meet him at all?
I know A Boogie. I did not talk to him at the game. I did know he was there. I saw him walk into the Crown Club with his entourage, his people, and I said, I'm not gonna bother A Boogie today, but a lovely guy.
Great. Yeah, great artist. And you were talking about yesterday with Ty about you're so amazed that you can do 2 hours in the gym. It's not that crazy. You lift for about an hour depending on what you're hitting, chest, triceps, or a push-pull day, or legs, and then you do like an hour-ish, 30 minutes of cardio and some abs. It's not terribly rare. It's pretty.
Well, I'm not saying it's terribly rare, but
you know what makes it rare, JJ, and we thank you for the phone call, is that you can have 2 infant children and that your wife allows that to happen.
Allows? I mean, she likes it.
Well, I get it, but that's 2 hours that he's not helping her. That's why I'm always amazed by women or men that are cool with their significant other going out and golfing for 4 hours.
But this isn't golfing. This is maintaining your health.
I get it. Well, some people at golf would say the same thing. Now, I have the key question, though.
Go ahead.
If you see Mr. with the hoodie and you say hello to him, do you say, hey, a boogie? Or do you say, hey, boogie? How do you address him?
Mr. with the. Yeah.
You
Mr.
would
with
say
the.
Mr. with the?
That's right. Yeah, it's a boogie with the hoodie.
Right.
I drop the boogie and the hoodie and just go Mr. with the.
It's that formal, though, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Even though he's much younger than me.
Well, he's much more successful, so.
So he deserves a Mister.
I don't know if you have to bow down to anybody. Your career matches up with anybody's.
You know what, Michael? Thank you. I'm glad you said that.
Let's go to Mike in Las Vegas. Mike.
Hello, guys. Have a great day. Listen, I would make a comment on the automatic strike zone. Alex Rodriguez had a good idea a few years ago. He said expand the plate about an inch on each side. This way the pitchers can get that slider on the corner that they wouldn't get normally.
Well, why don't they do that
now?
now?
What do you think about that? I know. I'm wondering why they don't do that because, like you said, the pitchers will be getting walks all day, and the hitters will be hitting the ball because the ball will be in a certain area.
But you know
So
what? That might fall right into what they want. And thank you for the call. The problem is this. If you expand the strike zone, it benefits the pitchers. Right now, hitting is at an all-time low. That's why what Aaron Judge is doing is otherworldly. No one hits. The Major League batting average is below 240. It hasn't been this low since 1968, the year of the pitcher. You're going to expand the strike zone and make it worse? No, I don't think that's going to be what they do. I don't think that's the thing to do. They want to improve offense. Offense is non-existent now. When you have a player that can hit, like the Yankees have two of them, in Soto and Judge, I mean, you've hit the mother load. No one hits. Why do you watch the Yankee-Reds game tonight? It's not a great team, the Reds. They don't hit. A lot of teams don't hit. The Mets are a real good offensive team. They hit. That's why they're winning. But hitting is like, it's not easy. It's just not easy. Hey, how about Richard in Manhattan? You up for this, Peter?
Always.
What's up, Rich? Richard?
Mets, Yankees, and Michael, hi. Peter, hi. I hope you let me go Mets, Yankees, and Knicks. First, Mets. Mendoza wanted to give the game away yesterday. The ninth inning pitcher comes in. 7 pitches, Michael, 7. 1, 2, 3. So they get 6 runs in the 10th. What does he do? He got to take that pitcher out. 7 pitches. Come on, this way we don't have to wash his uniform. Let's bring in another kid.
Wait a minute, Richard. Wait a minute. I'll let you get to your other points.
Go ahead.
They can't hold a 6-run lead. That's on their pitchers.
That's not my point.
But I'm sorry. I know what your point is, but don't you want the guy who threw 6 innings? Don't you want the guy who threw a single-digit number of pitches to be available tonight? They're one man short in the bullpen.
Michael, explain to me why did the guy that gives up 4 runs gets 31 pitches? Just explain that to me. That's what I'm asking you. Why does a guy that
But
pitches
if you have no chance, Richard, if your team can't hold a 6-run lead, you have no chance.
Michael, that's not my point, though. I want to know why the guy is allowed 31 pitches when he gives up 4 runs. Answer me that question.
Well, what, in the bottom of the 10th?
Yes.
Because they were running out of pitchers, so they figured even a bad pitcher can hold a 6-run lead. So why would you waste one of your top relievers to pitch in the 10th?
We're going to lose the game.
But wait a minute, not okay.
All right.
Why would 6 runs not be enough to bring in a scrub?
I don't know. Okay. Yankees, I've been calling you for 3 years. Why is Judge batting third? And you successfully told me if you bat lead off, you get 30 more at-bats than third. If you bat 60 more at-bats. If you bat second, you get 30 more at-bats than third. Now, what happens this year, Michael? Is this selective analytics or is this called Soto analytics? Explain to me.
Well, it's not selective analytics. I think that they hold. I thought that they should bat him third because I think that you took RBI. Because if you look at a 62 home run season, he didn't have nearly the amount of RBIs that he should have. But they felt very strongly about batting him second. But now they have a great number 2 hitter who gets on base about 50% of the time. So they want Judge hitting behind him.
All right, okay. Now, as far as the Knicks, Hartenstein, the first 35 games of the year, Hartenstein Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson averaged 18 rebounds, 13 points a game. The Knicks were out-rebounding the rest of the teams by 10 rebounds a game. They were the best rebounding team in basketball, first 35 games of the year. And I don't think that having Robinson and Hartenstein isn't a better alternative than having just Joel Embiid, because now you're covered just in case one of them gets hurt. Now, if you go back to 1973, the Knicks' last championship, it's ironic. They didn't have a starting center. They had two backups who manned the center spot. John Giannelli and Jerry Lucas both played center in 73, the Knicks' championship season, so last season. So isn't it ironic that the Knicks would win with the two backup centers manning the center post, and this year they could have won in the same way, but it wasn't meant to be.
Fascinating. Thank you, Richard. Wow.
This is why I need to explain something. This is why Richard calls are great. I'm being dead serious. The level between a good Richard call and a bad Richard call, Michael, it's such a stark contrast.
Where would you put that one?
Really bad. Oh, I just looked up, and apparently, Yes had the camera just on you. Guys, Yes, I don't want to tell you to do your job. You gotta go to a split shot when Richard's on the phone, because you got to get both of our reactions. My head is hitting the desk. Well, once it goes to a certain point, I'm falling apart. You got to get both shots here, because I will tell you with my face what kind of Richard call it was, and that was a horrifying Richard call. He asked the same question yesterday about the analytics, and I don't understand the point. Like, I don't, if it's rhetorical. Yeah, sometimes they're looking at one set of analytics, and then you look at another set of analytics. Those two pieces of analytics can contradict each other.
And also,
you can choose to look at one over another.
You change your thought process when you get one of the greatest players at the age of 25 in baseball history. Now, if they all of a sudden move Judge down to third and they didn't make any changes, then you have a complaint. They added Juan Soto. Now, I would have batted Soto third and continue to bat Judge second, because Judge has never really had protection like this. But he did have protection with Verdugo getting off to a hot start, and then Stanton. We'll see how that, even without protection, since they all got injured, he still had a month of June like no one's ever had before. Why does that stuff rile him? And also, I do understand why he's not married. He cannot reason with you.
Okay,
wait a minute, not okay.
And then he immediately says, all right, before it's all said and done.
He gets locked in and he can't hear anything else. But we love him. Right, Peter?
I'm told by Greek that they replayed my heads down. They gave me a moments ago. Oh, there it is. The moments ago head down reaction.
Wow. Now you're producing for Greek.
But I gave him, listen, Greek and I are a team. He doesn't get offended. I understand why you wouldn't have the shot on me there, but I just need him to know sometimes if Richard's really bad, I do show it in my face, because that was, whew. I love you, Richard. Let's try again tomorrow.
And I also don't think we should give Richard 3 topics. It's got to be one topic and done. Because when he goes 3 topics, that means he wants to get to that other one, doesn't want to listen to what you have to say.
Well, he never wants to listen to what you have to say.
Right.
I mean, that is part of the Richard experience.
You know what we should do? Our Pinhead Suits should hire him to do a weekend show. Let him go on for 2 hours. See how it works.
I mean, what about last week? How not thrown he was by the fact that he had screaming, adoring fans at the Beach Bash.
Yeah, because he's locked in. He's probably a phenomenal dentist.
Yeah, well, unless he's thinking about a phone call he wants to make to a radio station.
Yeah, but I think he can compartmentalize. He really can.
But you don't know how many people ended up getting, half of a crown because Steve Summers' shift was starting. You got to be careful with Richard.
Well, if he was doing dental work when Steve Summers' shift started at like midnight, that's an issue. That's a story.
No, but didn't eventually Steve move up to like nights, like 8 o'clock?
I guess, but still, I mean, who goes to the dentist at 8 o'clock?
Well, Richard's burning at both ends.
All right, we'll come back. We've got a lot of calls to get to. We still have to talk Yankees and the Mets, although people want to talk what they want to talk about, and that's allowed. Right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
We just signed the lease on our 3rd shop. I guess we're a chain now, right? We've worked so hard to get here. My assistant went to CustomInc.com to get our new uniforms and merch with all the location names. Our custom gear helps him get our brand out into the community. He takes care of all of our Custom Ink orders. He was able to find great products, upload the new art, and have boxes sent directly to each of the shops. Custom Ink makes it so easy. Get started today at customink.com.
The finest premium arena club in the world comes alive in Brooklyn. Welcome to Crown Club, the Brooklyn Nets' most exclusive club in Barclays Center. Featuring a menu curated by a major food group with Carbone classics and a world-class wine list. To learn more about premium memberships at Barclays Center, visit brooklynnets.com/crown-club.
$50. Right now, you can go online and buy a hand-drawn portrait for $50 titled Andy Pettit, The Stair. 1. Growing up, you used to play a game called Corkball using 1 penny and a bat.
First of all, how do you know all this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The YouTube video of you snagging a fan's popcorn has 1,169,839 views.
Took him a ball the next inning. I said, thanks for the popcorn, signed it.
Big season. More reasons to say yes.
Wow. Aaron Judge crushes one.
Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
It's Aaron Judge. Yeah.
Sometimes you get the feeling you're watching a Hall of Famer right in the middle of his prime.
They're going to need a longer tape measure.
A monster blast. See ya. Wow.
Wounded Warrior Project has been with me every step of my journey.
Aaron, how you doing,
With experiences that help me realize that I'm not alone.
And specialized programs that give me the tools to train my body and mind.
Now, it's possible for me to get back out there.
To get out of my comfort zone and try new things.
To build and be part of a community that supports other warriors.
It's possible to get the help I need for me and my family.
I got my confidence back. I'm setting goals and I'm achieving them.
It's possible to feel understood, whether it's day one or 20 years down the road, they've got your back.
And as each warrior's needs evolve, Wounded Warrior Project is adapting to meet them.
Because when we pull together,
It's possible to go further than you ever imagined.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. Our incredible same-game parlay gets even better when you add Profit Boost. You can still combine all of your favorite selections to increase your potential winnings, but now we're giving you the option to boost your profit up to an extra 30%. Look out for a Profit Boost on select games and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Stay straight for the next 200 miles.
Get into an Audi and go your own way. Find your way to exceptional offers during the Summer of Audi sales event at your local Audi dealer.
Don't let a clogged gutter rain on your parade. Protect your home with Leaf Guard, the only one-piece seamless gutter system guaranteed to never clog, no matter the weather. Never clean your gutters again with Leaf Guard. Leaf Guard's patented seamless design keeps leaves, pests, and sediment out while directing water away from your home, preventing wood rot and foundation decay, giving you peace of mind that your home and family are protected from water damage with the industry's premier maintenance-free gutter system. Leaf Guard is the smartest solution in gutter protection, proudly protecting your home by getting it right the first time for a lifetime. From manufacturing to installation, Leaf Guard handles the entire process from start to finish. Invest in your home with a company you can trust. Call 888-6-LEAF-GUARD right now for a free estimate and save 20% plus $500 off your purchase and installation. Leaf Guard, get it today, protected for life.
I debate all day. It's what I do. But there are some things that are undebatable, like your mental health. I was in a dark place when my brother passed away in a car accident. I was depressed in ways I never imagined. Reached out, and my sisters came, my pastor, my therapist. They helped me get through it. I found that the more I spoke up, the healthier my mind became. When you love your mind, you can go so much further. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org.
It's his birthday today. And it's Larry David's birthday.
Did you reach out?
I did. And he sent me a very, very funny message.
What'd he say?
I said to him, very simply, happy birthday, Larry. And he writes back, thanks, Michael. Never did this premise on Curb, but not sure birthday texts require a reply. I played it safe.
You know, I couldn't agree with him more. I feel obligated to reply to all the birthday texts.
I do too.
But he's not wrong. I miss him. By the way, he was in my dream last night. Why don't you just ask him to call the show right now? Yeah. I had a dream about him last night.
About what?
I had a dream he was doing a season of Curb, and I ended up doing I had sort of an extended part on the show. And I was so happy. And I was expressing my gratitude to him.
Wow.
I'm sad that he hasn't been back on the show. It hurts a little bit, honestly.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if he does.
I hope so, man.
I'm being told by sources you overslept yesterday. Did you get to the morning show in time?
No, that's not. Did you miss the part about oversleeping?
Well, but I'm just saying, oversleeping to the extent of missing the beginning of the show.
Oh, more than the beginning.
The whole show?
No, an hour.
I mean, Ebro must have been red hot.
Well, Ebro was on vacation. That's what made it worse.
So who did it?
Laura and company held it down, and they called Ebro while he was on his way to the airport to go on vacation. And Ebro then was on the phone with them and then the second Ebro disconnected with them, I appeared.
But did they think you were dead?
There was some momentary concern, but the thing is, listen, I don't know what it's like for Rick and Dave. I'm sure they're the model citizens and they've never had an issue. But in my 17 years of mornings, between myself and others, everyone has had 1 or 2 days in the many, many years we've been doing it where you're like, uh-oh, what happened?
Why were you so tired?
Rocky had me up in the middle of the night. It was not what I wanted. It was very... Have you ever had a situation where maybe it was when the kids were little or whatever, where something wakes you up in the 1 to 2 a.m. range, and you're so awake at that time that when you eventually fall back asleep, you're just dead to the world?
No. Because
Never
this annoys Jody. When I wake up, for whatever reason, I go right back to bed. I don't sleep well. Maybe that's why I could go right back to bed. So I never get into a deep sleep.
Wow. So you've never had that happen where then you just wake up and you're completely lost?
No, I've never missed an appointment.
Never missed an appointment?
No.
Wow.
Got some good news.
All right.
The Hawktua girl.
This can't be news I care about.
Was not a teacher, and she did not lose her job.
Good.
Yeah.
I was so worried about that.
Yeah, a lot of people reported that, and really, Twitter or X is such a cesspool of disinformation. The kid Kolek that the Knicks drafted, right?
All right. Yeah.
I fell for a terrible account that said that he had a bad Wonderlic test or whatever, and I blame X. For selling these check marks to people that just want, because you looked at it and go, well, and he also had 80,000 followers, and he probably aggregated this from somewhere, and we said it and talked about it, and I apologize to Kolek. It's terrible. It's terrible. You just don't know what right and what's wrong out there. And then the Hawktua girl was not a teacher who got fired.
It's not right. It upsets me to hear about that. I worry about Hawktua girl. I was glad to see that she spent time with Shaq.
Yep. Shaq
I never thought about Shaq Tua. Also, I just put up one of my most controversial takes on Instagram. Beetle, of course, asked me yesterday if I'd watched the Bear yet.
I have never watched it.
And it led to me derailing because of how much I hate the Bear.
Your dog or the show?
Love Bear the dog. Hate the show The Bear.
So it's Bear the dog, not the Bear.
That's right.
Jody and I watched the first 4 episodes last night of Hacks of the 3rd season.
Oh, you hadn't seen the season of Hacks yet? What did you think?
Very good.
Hacks is a great watch. And it's you know what it is that annoys me about The Bear? It's not that The Bear can't be good, okay? I want to be clear. I'm not denying quality things about it. I think Jeremy Allen White's a great actor. Like I think the woman who's the lead, I think she's a great actor. It's just that I gave it a full season, Michael.
And you didn't like it.
And it never got me. And then for people to go, you have to stick around to season 2. I'm sorry, that's a bridge too far, man. If you can't get me in a full season, you didn't get me. And then it starts turning into this thing where I feel like it's an intelligence test. It is the Wonderlic test. The Bear is the Wonderlic test. You gotta listen. You have to stay through it. You have to stay. And then it becomes almost like, in order to show that your taste in television is good, you need to be able to suffer until the point where The Bear gets good. And I wasn't willing to do that.
I don't blame you.
One full season is a lot.
Listen, you don't have the time for that. Instead, you're binge watching Full House. I get it. I see priorities.
I'm not in on the Full House watch.
But your wife is, so you have to be checking in.
No, she does that when I'm not around. That's like her going to like rest show. I'm not watching Full House. I'm good.
You should try Fuller House, the reboot. Very good.
Did you really watch it?
Kids like it. The kid, when the kids
is that
watching
true?
Yeah.
The kids were in on Fuller House.
No, Fuller. They never watched Full.
No, but they were in on Fuller.
Yeah, they like Fuller. Huh. Hey, I don't know if you know this, Peter, but I talk for a living.
I've heard that.
And whether I'm in the studio or at the ballpark, I'm sure to have a couple of things.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Bigelow Tea, who encourages you to grab a mug and tea proudly.
It's amazing to think that my grandmother started Bigelow Tea right here in New York. And today, we're still a family company. And you have to remember, tea, that's all we do. So every cup counts. That means never compromising. My family won't let that happen. And our extended family, they give their all every single day. And our community, well, they expect that.
I want a cup of Bigelow Tea to be a moment just for you. That's what I hope for.
Stay straight for the next 200 miles.
Get into an Audi and go your own way. Find your way to exceptional offers during the Summer of Audi sales event at your local Audi dealer.
At Domino's, we've heard in focus groups that some people don't love our classic crust.
Too doughy.
It's not thin enough.
So here's another pizza.
All the ingredients come together.
And so what if I told you this was Domino's?
Good for Domino's, for real.
Introducing Domino's New York style pizza. Try it tonight.
My name is Charles Bonzik. I'm seeking a life-saving liver. I want to live for my dad. He's a total marvel when it comes to motors.
And I love you.
I want to
cheers to Dippin' Dollars.
Fall in love.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
I want to live so I can keep on driving. Driving fast. I want to live for my sister.
You drive me nuts.
I want to live for my friend Franco.
2 more years, bro.
To infinity and beyond.
True.
My name is Charles, and I want to live.
Make this a summer to share and save during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event in the 3-row Kia Sorrento, the tech-forward Sportage, the available all-wheel drive Seltos, or the IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus Telluride, each one recommended by Consumer Reports. This summer, visit your local Kia dealer and save. Get 1.9% APR for 48 months plus $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged 2024 Sportage and Sorrento vehicles.
It's going to feel like home. It's going to be electric.
This is the Yankees flexing their muscles. He has the right demeanor.
The expectation is to win a championship.
This is the Yankees being the Yankees.
What if you went to your secret hiding place and found this? All drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, know that you can quit. For help with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Already got me point guard yesterday, so I'm going back in again today.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No. It got it for me already yesterday.
But it might not get it again.
No, I don't know if it's worthy of a second day.
Now, I'm excited about tonight. After the Yankee-Reds game, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to watch Hard Knocks. It's a preseason Hard Knocks. It's going to be about the Giants. Now, it's not going to be anything earth-shattering in the show because the Giants have final say. So they're not going to give away any state secrets.
It's like the draft day Hard Knocks, right?
Yeah, leading up to that. And, all the scouting trips they took. And, again, the Giants control it completely. So you're not going to have anything that's going to shock the world, but HBO does such a good job. I'm looking forward to it. So I'll watch it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I don't know if you're going to watch it, Peter.
I want to. I'm going to watch it at some point. Will I watch it before tomorrow's show? I mean, listen, if you think it's something we need to watch for tomorrow, I guess something. How many episodes is it?
I think it's 4 or 5.
No, it's that many for this one?
We'll check it out. I don't think it's just one.
Because it can't bleed up. The next one's going to start in a month, right?
I don't think camp's starting a month. I think it's a little more than a month.
Either way, if this is something we're going to talk about tomorrow and we think something could really come from this, then I got to watch it.
Well, it's time now for the Pinstripe Report, brought to you by Samuel Institute for Pain Management. Buster Only was on with Han. It was Han Solo today. And he talked about the biggest question for the Yankees moving forward.
The bigger question for me is the bullpen. That series that they had in Fenway Park, I think, absolutely exposed some of the weaknesses that the Yankees have. The bullpen issues, holding runners in a game plan situation. A playoff series, opposing teams are going to be looking for opportunities the way the Red Sox did. They're going to have to close those up. And I do think by the time we hit, 4 p.m. on July 30th, the trade deadline, they have to be comfortable with the solutions that they have at first base, at second base, at third base. Because it's interesting, when you have a lineup that has Volpe at the top, having a good year, Soto, Judge, 2 of the 5 best players in the American League, they're clearly a World Series contender, but they also have clear holes and ways to upgrade. And I do think, the market will afford them some opportunities to look at. Bullpen might be the toughest because so many contenders are going to be looking for relief help, including the Orioles, including the Mets, and including some of the other contenders.
Now, a lot of people ask me about LeMahieu and Torres.
Right.
And here's my take on them. They've got to turn it around. You're not going to replace them. You're not going to replace them. There's too many holes. It's like the kid sticking his fingers in the dam because it's springing a leak. There's too many leaks. So the thing that you have to concentrate on is the bullpen. You do. You've got to bring in a strike-him-out arm. You're going to get Efros back if he continues to progress. And you're going to have to bring in a swing-and-miss guy in the bullpen. As Buster said, there's a lot of teams that need help in the bullpen. And there are not a lot of teams that are out of it, Peter. They're just not. I mean, the Yankees are playing the Reds today, and the Reds are not having a good season after they were 82-80 this year, or last year, and just missed the final wild card. Everybody thought, well, they're going to take that big leap. Well, they haven't. They're under 500. Their record is 39-45, but they're just 3.5 games of the final wild card. So they've got a relief pitcher in Fernando Cruz who's in his 30s. It'd be a perfect guy to trade. But are they going to trade him or are they going to go for it? I think they'll go for it. So there's 2 teams in the National League that are really out of it, that could say they're out of it, the Marlins and the Rockies. And the Rockies keep saying they're not trading McMahon, which is a guy the Yankees, a third baseman the Yankees would be interested in. I don't think they're going to trade him. White Sox are out of it. So Garrett Crochet is somebody that interests people. In terms of a pitcher, he's starting now, but he has pitched out of the bullpen. You could transfer him back there because he's over his innings that he's ever had. The A's are out of it. Are they going to trade Mason Miller? Why should they? They have 5 years of control left with him. And you'd have to give up a king's ransom to get him. So there aren't that many teams that are out of it. That's going to be the difficulty in anybody that's trying to make their team better. The third wild card kills you. And I think if Major League Baseball wants to have trades, they have got to move the trade deadline back to the end of August. Because if it's going to be the end of July, not enough teams have fallen out of it. By the end of August, teams would have fallen out of it. At least give me 2 more weeks. Maybe make it August 15th. Now, Luis Gil starts for the Yankees tonight, and this is going to answer some questions as well because
I hope it does.
Luis Gil has been bad the last 2 starts. I mean, really dreadful. So Buster told Allen about Gil's struggles.
You know, given the trajectory recently of him getting his brains beat in, you know that they're looking at the number of innings and where is he physically, and they have the ability now with the medical science that teams have to try to measure some of that. You know, you also wonder about an adjustment that hitters are making, and you wonder about a player, for lack of a better way to describe it, sort of panicking, right, and saying, "Oh man, what is the problem?" and making those adjustments on the fly.
Well, we'll see. The Reds are kind of a middle-of-the-road offensive team. They do steal bases. Middle-of-the-road. Well, they're not middle-of-the-road offensive. They're bad offense. But they're middle-of-the-road when it comes to their pitching. So they have the 24th batting average in baseball, 22nd on-base percentage, 18th slugging, and tied for 22nd with only 79 home runs. So I look at this series, Peter, the way I looked at the Blue Jay series. Yankees finally didn't lose the series, but they went to Toronto, and Toronto's awful. Toronto is underachieved. They might be a team that sells, but they're awful. Their pitching has been awful. Their bullpen has been awful. They do everything poorly. They're in last place, and the Yankees split with them. So I'm not going to celebrate with a split because they didn't win a series. This is a series the Yankees should win. You got to get back to winning series. So you have a homestand now. You have 3 games against the Reds. Reds are on good. And then 3 games against the Red Sox, and the Red Sox have played well. Then you go on the road again. Tampa, 500 team, and Baltimore. So we're going to see the Yankees declare themselves here. What exactly are they? They're in second place right now by percentage points behind the Orioles. But I'm not celebrating beating the Blue Jays 2 out of 4 times. So what? Blue Jays are awful. You have to win that series. Now you have to win this series. You can't let the Cincinnati Reds come into the Bronx and take 2 out of 3. You can't. Because then you got a Red Sox team that likes to run, and your running or the ability to stop the run is something that has not gone well. So that's going to be an interesting 3-game set as well. You've got 12 games coming up. Going to tell you exactly where the Yankees are. And, not ripping anybody or anybody's skill set, but when your 4 through 9 is Verdugo, Torres, Rice, LeMahieu, Grisham, and Trevino, your top 3 is what's going to do damage. So we'll see exactly what happens. That's the Pinstripe Report brought to you by Samwell Institute for Pain Management. For a pain-free life, visit SamwellPain.com today. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Griffin in Connecticut.
Hey, Michael. I'm with you. I'm not going to celebrate this series, but I'm going to take positives out of this series because the guy who I think the Yankees should trade for is, you already shot that down. I love Brian McMahon, but that's just my dream. That's not going to happen. I'm going to take positive. Torres looked a little bit good. Maybe he can take this into the series with the Reds. Ben Rice had some really good at-bats. Hopefully he can carry it over. LeMahieu has some really good at-bats. Maybe he can carry it over. So hopefully the guys who had good at-bats in that game, in the series against the Blue Jays, can carry it into the series because they know what I'm going to get from Judge and Soto. But if the others don't start hitting, well, then why do you pitch to Judge? I don't know why the Blue Jays didn't just walk Judge in the first inning. Like, why not just walk him? But no,
Griffin, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't understand why teams are doing it, and I'm glad they're not because I love to see Judge hit, and he's having a historic season. We thank you for the call. The bottom line is I'm not taking anything from that Blue Jay series. Let's see how Gleyber Torres does against better pitching. And they're not going to see it against the Reds. Let's see how they do against the Red Sox, who've been pitching very well. Let's see what they do against a Rays team that's just 500, but they have played well against the Yankees historically, and against the Orioles. So I'm not going to say, oh, you know what? Gleyber Torres had 2 hits in each game against the last 3 games against Toronto. Okay, great. You should. Toronto's bad. Toronto's bad. 1-800-919-3776. Artie in Fairlawn. Artie.
Michael, Peter, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I got to call you because I need, first of all, Michael, do you know anything about our prospect Jones? Because he was on MLB today, the 22-year-old 6'7" guy. But also, my other thing was, it drives me crazy because they were doing a little thing about the MVP with Judge. I apologize, I forget the other guy in the race, and then Ohtani. And first of all, they turn a blind eye to Ohtani, which drives me crazy.
Well, wait a minute. Let's talk about that. How do you know they turned a blind eye?
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, what they do, Michael, I mean, they don't say anything.
They said that the FBI investigated and found nothing wrong, so they're going to go with the FBI. Well, I mean, what more do we want?
So, well, I guess so. The kid stole his money. That's what happened. I guess
that's what they say. So we have
anyway,
to accept that.
Now they're comparing him to Ohtani, and Ohtani is just a DH. Judge is by far the MVP.
But one thing, Artie, don't worry about Ohtani. There's an American League MVP and there's a National League MVP. Ohtani's in the National League. Judge is going to, if he keeps playing like this, he's going to win the MVP, and he's got a chance to win the Triple Crown. Now, he's 1 point behind Luis Rengifo, but what's going to happen in the next couple of days is that Stephen Kwan is going to have the requisite number of at-bats so he could be rated top of the order or top of the rankings, and he's hitting like 368. So the chances of Judge winning the Triple Crown, he's going to have to catch Stephen Kwan, or Kwan's going to have a big drop. But, don't worry about Ohtani, because that's he'll win the National League. He'll win in the National League. In terms of Spencer Jones, he was just added to the Futures game, which is done at the All-Star game. So he's played very, very well. He's the Yankees' number 2 prospect, MLB's 65th prospect. In the month of June, he was great. 32 for 108. 14 extra base hits, 6 home runs, 29 ribbies, 19 runs, and 59 total bases. So his 29 ribbies, 14 extra bases, and 59 total bases led all Eastern League batters in June, while his 29 RBIs tied for the most of any minor league hitter during the month. So he's starting to come around. Yankees love this guy. As I said, he's their number 2 prospect. So the thought is that he's going to end up being a Yankee one day. I think the Yankees would be loath to trade him for anybody. For anybody. That's how good they think he is. Let's go to Anthony in Stony Point. Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Mike. How you doing? First-time caller. I'm
What's
a York Met fan. I'm 66 years old. I went to the 69 World Series. Game 4, Tom Seaver pitched 10 innings. All right, my story is, when that guy Richard called, I was hysterical laughing on the Mets because it's not Mendoza's fault. They're short of bullpen.
No.
Diaz, what happened.
No.
But the story is, everybody always wants to blame the managers for this, for that. You know what, though? These are major league ball players. They have to be accountable for themselves, like on what they do and this and that. Granted, they had a 6-run lead, and the bottom line is Garrett, he seems like look, it's a nail biter every time he's in there. But it is what it is. What are you going to do? Thank God for their offense. Well,
their offense has been outstanding. We thank you for the phone call, Anthony. Here's the bottom line. I mean, what Richard did was why didn't they bring in Garrett after he had pitched a 7 or 8 pitch 9th inning and let him pitch the 10th? If you can't hold a 6-run lead, shame on you. I don't know how Mendoza's doing this. They're now, to circumvent the fact that Edwin Diaz has been suspended and they can't add a player, they're going with 4 starters and taking advantage of an off day. So they replace their 5th starter with somebody in the bullpen. Their bullpen is terrible. Terrible. It just is. That's the bottom line. It's been absolutely awful. So I don't know what to tell you. You're going to blame Carlos Mendoza. He's working magic with this team. This team can hit, and I don't think they're going to sell anybody off, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Bottom line is they're getting it done with mirrors because the pitching is dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. They're relief pitching. 1-800-919-3776. Time to give us a call right now. We have a lot of things to talk about. We want to talk with you as well. Now we'll go to Danny in Long Island. Danny.
Good afternoon, guys. Happy birthday to Larry David, who has one very important thing in common with Danny from Long Island.
What's that?
Are both Civil War buffs.
Really?
He has been to every major battlefield. I think I read that. He a picture of his daughter leaning against a cannon.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's a classic photo of them.
That's right. See, there you go. I always wondered how Keith Hernandez got into Seinfeld, whether it's because Larry David was a Met fan or a Civil War fan.
No, Larry David's a big Yankee fan.
Yeah, well, Keith Hernandez is actually a really big Civil War buff.
Right.
So there you go. Mike, you're right about the Mets. I mean, I don't know what to say. These pitchers, one after another, they all stink. And you can't have these debilitating late-inning losses. You lose games. Everyone loses games in baseball. I want to talk about a 2-1 lead after 7. I always laugh like a blown save is after the 6th inning. But a 2-1 lead in the 6th is not a blown save like hanging on for your dear life. Guys getting 2-3 runs in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. You have to. It's just all you can hope is that there's enough teams that are out of it, and there is teams that are out of it. Or there's these relief pitchers seem to come and go. They find themselves for a couple of months or a season at a time. They got it. The phone's got to be lighting up at Citi Field. They got to be no stone unturned because, like you said, no one's hitting in the major leagues. I think I saw stats one time that there's the least amount of doubles, the least the batting averages are down, which is unbelievable because when I watch the games, that's not really I haven't really noticed that as much. But the Mets are actually all hitting now, and the kid in right field. And I talk about an inning. First, he allows the tying run to go past him on a misplays the ball.
Right.
Then he makes a game-saving catch. The game should have been over right there. And then he gets up and hits a 3-run home run, all in one inning. I mean, that's baseball for you. It keeps coming at you. It's unrelenting. It's 162 games. And the Yankees, you're right, they got so many holes in the lineup. But if they don't get starting pitching, it doesn't matter. Because, again, you can't be expected to score 6-7 runs and be down 3-0 in the 3rd inning or 2nd. That's the key component of baseball. We all know it. Pitching. And you can talk about the 7/8 hitter. Yes, it's important. But the guy that takes the rubber every night, he's got more to do with the outcome of the game than any other player, and they're just not getting it. And Rodin now, he's now approaching top Yankee free agent busts of all time because he got a lot of money and he hasn't even had glimmers of what we thought he would be. He's really he's going to start being the focus of the boos if he doesn't start picking it up.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the second year of a 6-year deal. I don't look at it as a bust. I think he pitched he's won 8 or 9 games, so I'm not going to make him a bust. He's 9-5 with a 4.42 ERA, so he's had a couple of bad games. So if you're going to look at those couple of bad games and say he's a bust, right? Then is Luis Gil a bust because he's had 2 bad games? I'm not going to bury Carlos Rodon. No, I don't look at it that way at all. Last year he was hurt. Got off to a great start this year. Now his last 3 starts, Rodon, 0-3, 13.17, 5 home runs. I get it. But you could say the same thing about Gil. Are you going to give up on him? Say that he's a bust?
This is the problem with every baseball conversation we have. If you try to do it in the micro, it just doesn't work, Michael. I know it doesn't make for fun conversation, but all of these declarations about people based on really short sample size, really small sample sizes, it's just not a realistic way to look at things.
Well, what baseball does, I think it's the truest test of what is your actual level. So
over the course of
a year, it's your greatest example of a championship season. I think you're going to find your watermark. So the Yankees starters through May, all right, they allowed Yankee pitching, not just starters. They allowed 3.12 runs per game. You know what that is? That's the best mark in baseball through May. All right, so you know what they did in June, Peter?
Nonsense.
They allowed 5.59 runs per game. 2.5 more runs per game. You know where that is in baseball? 29th. Only the Rockies, who play in thin air, have given up more runs per game than the Yankees in June. So does that mean the Yankee pitching is terrible and we just disregard the first 2 months? Did they hit a little bit of a June swoon, and will they correct themselves? Time will tell. But you don't just throw it out and say that's it. They're terrible. I mean, could the Yankees add another starter? Yeah, you'd like to, but I'll give you something to feel good about. 5 innings, Garrett Cole looked like Garrett Cole against Toronto. They're going to get back Clark Schmidt in August. He was having a really good year for the Yankees. Could they use another starter, especially if Heel is, in fact, fatigued and has hit the wall? Of course they could. But if you ask me, would you rather have a starter or would you have a couple of relievers? I'll take the relievers. I don't even know how Boone's been. I mean, they were 1 game over 500 in June. I don't know how he did that. They don't have a good bullpen. They just don't. You've got Tonkin. You've got Canely, who's pitched well. Holmes has struggled in June. I still think he's one of the top closers in the game. But look at the rest of the bullpen. What exactly are you throwing out there? And somehow they've won 1 more game than they lost in the month of June, which has been their worst month. So, yeah, you can actually sit here and go, they haven't played well. I've said it. I said the way they've played and the way they are not hitting, you could make the case they're not good enough to win the World Series. But does that mean that's the way it's going to be at the end of September? No, it doesn't mean that. There's 4 weeks to the trade deadline. You could turn the pitching around. Matt Blake has done a good job every year that he's here. So why bail now? You could be concerned. You could say, I don't like the way they're playing. And you know what? You'd be right. No one likes the way they're playing. They don't like the way they're playing. But give up? No, I'm good. That's why I love Don. Love him. Peter, I love him.
Oh, like a brother.
Even more so. But he was ready for the Mets to, empty the tank and just trade everybody before they went on this run. It's baseball, Susan. Like you said, you can't look at baseball in the macro. You got to let it breathe. The Mets have a good offense. They can out-hit a lot of their deficiencies with pitching. Let it breathe. Peter, I don't know if you know this.
All right.
To hit a home run, everything needs to line up perfect.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more.
Hey, so I found a betting system that's really working great for me.
So did I. What's yours?
I set up an hour-a-week time limit on FanDuel. I can also set up wager limits, so I only bet what I can afford, and betting stays fun.
Right.
So what's your system?
What's that?
Your system. What's your system? What is that?
Every bettor has a system. Make FanDuel's responsible gaming tools a key part of yours.
Stay straight for the next 200 miles.
Get into an Audi and go your own way. Find your way to exceptional offers during the Summer of Audi sales event at your local Audi dealer.
Hello, I'm Dennis Quaid. For years, Tunnel to Towers has demonstrated a commitment to first responders and military families. They've paid off mortgages and built specially adapted smart homes. Now the foundation is expanding its mission to eradicate veteran homelessness. Please give our veterans a chance to reclaim their dignity by donating at T2T.org.
We're ready. Away we go. And a look at MI New York.
That is a big hit.
Catches the call and catch. It's 100. Bang. There's another.
If anyone knows the joy of rescuing animals, it's me. Just ask my rescues, who are all very important members of my family. Your life can also be forever changed by adopting a shelter pet. And it's not just about happiness your pet gets from finding a loving home, but that which you'll get from bringing them into your life. The heroes at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years, whether it's rescuing animals caught in disasters, ensuring the safety of animals stars on the screen, or protecting our planet's endangered species. They go above and beyond to further their mission and make the world a kinder place for animals. Please consider adopting a shelter pet and support American Humane. You can learn more at AmericanHumane.org.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
My dad, he's a double amputee, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. To me, a hero is someone who fights for our country and freedom. My dad is a hero. Homes for Our Troops built this house, and it's basically made for him. My dad can get through the wide doorways. When he is making our lunch, he can reach anything we need. He'll help me build tiny projects. Life is good here. Without Homes for Our Troops, we'd be living in a home that didn't have all these features that helped him.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives.
If they get a new house like this one, it'll help them do normal life. My dad's not just a hero, he's my hero.
Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your life, your career, and everything in between that we've uncovered. They're all centered on numbers. Some of the numbers might be familiar to you, but they all add up to tell your story. What do you want fans to think about when they see the number 23?
I wanted to be somebody different on the field, to be just known for baseball.
The Story of My Number, presented by the New York Lottery. Streaming now exclusively on the Yes app.
It's going to feel like home. It's going to be electric.
This is the Yankees flexing their muscles.
He has the right demeanor.
The expectation is to win a championship.
This is the Yankees being the Yankees.
Welcome back to the show. It's Michael and Peter with you. Don's on vacation this week. Peter and I are together tomorrow. Thursday is July 4th, so celebrate with your family. We'll have some baseball on, and then Friday, it's a K solo show. Me, by my lonesome. Ready to say whatever I want to say without being contradicted and made fun of. Can't wait.
Yay!
1-800-919-3776. Mets Nationals tonight. And the Yankees and the Reds begin a 3-game set at Yankee Stadium. Let's go to Dave in Portchester. Dave.
How you doing, Mike?
Good. How are you?
Here's my point. I only call into your show, but when I drove to work one day, I just said, let me give this a shot. Because they were ranting and raving about how iconic Judge is. I'm a big Yankees fan. I root for Judge all the time. I happened to mention one little thing about Jeter and this guy in the morning, starts yelling and screaming at me about, do you think he's better than Mike Trout? Do you think he's better than Aaron Judge? I'm like, I don't care if most of the Yankee fans don't care if he hits 100 home runs a year. Has he done anything in a big spot in his life? Has he made a big play in the field in a playoff game in his life? How is the guy iconic? The guy cuts me off, starts screaming, yelling, and saying, "Oh, this is just."
Well, I won't cut you off, Dave, but I mean,
let me just say one thing before you cut me off.
I'm not going to cut you off.
We live in a society of what have you done for me lately? So everybody forgot about this one particular player that, to me, is definitely iconic. It's not even close. I mean, come on now. I don't understand. I'm asking you, Mike.
Well, who are you talking about? Who did people forget about?
I'm saying, do you really beve that as of today, right now, Aaron Judge or Mike Trout is better than Derek Jeter. He's 9 categories in the postseason.
What do you mean? Are you talking about talent or greatness?
I'm talking about people who come through when it's needed.
Yeah, but Dave, the bar that you're setting, all right? So what you're saying is Ted Williams was not iconic. He was terrible in the postseason. Ernie Banks never played in the postseason. He's not iconic? And you're acting like I don't care if he hits 100 home runs, but Dave, they don't get to the postseason if he doesn't do what he does during the season. Yeah, it's problematic he hasn't hit in the playoffs, but are you burying him for good?
I'm not burying. I like the guy. He's a nice guy. I mean, Jeter had 100% of the votes except for one guy who didn't see his name on the ballot.
Right.
He didn't do that because he handles the media well.
I get it. Dave, you don't have to sell me on Jeter. Jeter's one of the all-time greats. But don't diminish Judge because he hasn't hit in the postseason. What you do in the season counts, too.
No, I understand that. I just didn't like the way that this guy, his name was Dave. You know him very well, obviously.
I know. I've heard of him.
He went crazy and just went crazy before I called up, and then he went crazy after I called up. I mean, he made it like Judge was better than Willie Mays and this guy now. I was like,
well, I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you one thing, Dave. I'll tell you one thing. Judge is having a season right now, and we thank you for the call. And I'm not going to sit here and rip you as we hang up. Judge is having a season right now, Peter, that it's been done maybe 2 or 3 times in the history of baseball. And what I think amplifies what he's done, it's hard to hit. You can't hit in baseball anymore. Everything is against you. So today is the anniversary in 1963, Peter.
All right.
Juan Marichal and Warren Spahn started for the Giants against the Braves. And they both pitched 15 shutout innings. Marichal pitched a scoreless inning in the 16th. Then Spahn gave up a home run to Willie Mays to lose 1-0. So today's hitters, like Aaron Judge, they're not going to face Warren Spahn and Juan Marichal 9 times in one game. They're not going to face any starter that much. The guy they're going to face is a guy throwing 98 to 101 miles an hour out of the bullpen, and that's in the 5th or the 6th inning. So here's what Judge has done in June. 409, 514 on base percentage, 864 slugging percentage, 1.378 OPS, 37 runs batted in the month of June, 11 home runs. He's doing things that have really never been done before. It's amazing what he's done. To sit back and try to nitpick on what the guy's about, it's just, you're not enjoying the moment. He's playing better than really anybody has ever played before. All right, so he has 31 home runs through June. Babe Ruth had 30 home runs in 28 through June. Now, in fairness, this is a skewed stat because Judge has played 84 games, Babe Ruth 66, and then Babe Ruth had 30 in 1930, 67 games because they started the season in the middle of April. But nobody else. So let's take out those guys. Nobody else has done 30 home runs through June. Oh, the Yankees, no Yankee. And the Yankees are the Mount Rushmore of baseball. Major league players with 30 or more home runs and 80 or more RBIs through June. Major league players. Mark McGwire did it in 1998. Chris Davis did it in 2013 for the Orioles. He has 12 first-inning home runs. That leads the major leagues. The most first-inning home runs ever in a season. Babe Ruth with 16 in 1927. I mean, I could go on and on.
Well, can I throw something at you?
Sure.
So we had this conversation come up last week, and I think it's important. Words are important, Michael.
Oh,
they're tools.
They're tools, weapons.
And I think when you talk about all-time greatness, Yankee fans have every right to be very protective of Derek Jeter. Because what Derek Jeter did over a long period of time and in many, many clutch situations put him in the rarest of airs, Michael. I mean, they put him, in my opinion, at potentially table one of all Yankees ever, right? For the amount that he did and how well he did it in the biggest of spots. Judge has not done that yet. He has not had the big spot moments yet, or at least he hasn't delivered in huge spots yet. But I think people then confuse that, Michael, with the level of talent and what he's done in the regular season. Like, there is just no denying that Aaron Judge is on his way to being an all-time ball player and Yankee. And that doesn't mean yet that you have to have the same affection for him already in 2024 that you have for Derek Jeter after his incredible, illustrious career. Those are two, like, we have to be able to have room for two separate thoughts. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I think just because you think somebody's great doesn't mean the other guy's not great. You know what Derek Jeter's postseason stats are? His postseason stats, now you're playing against the best of the best in the postseason. There weren't 3 wild cards then. He's playing against the best pitchers and the best teams. So he played 158 games in the postseason. So let's say he played a full season of postseason baseball. He had 308. He had 200 hits. He had 20 home runs, 111 runs scored, and 61 ribbies, leading off. He's one of the greatest players who ever lived. But don't diminish Aaron Judge because Aaron Judge hasn't hit in the playoffs yet. Everybody wants to, like, make a definitive, declarative statement right away. Aaron Judge is 32 years old. He might be in the playoffs another 7 years. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. Let's go to Joe in California. Joe.
Hey, thanks so much for taking the call. Appreciate it.
You got it.
I just don't understand it. Whatever. Those guys are crazy. But so you were mentioning about Rodon and how awful he's been in the last 3 starts. And look, I've been a Yankee fan forever, since 1969. But here's the thing that I think that we're missing. And this isn't an anomaly. This is a pattern. You know, this is very reminiscent of 2022. They started really strong, got off to this incredible record, and then that's what carried them into the playoffs, and they couldn't get through. And yes, there were injuries just like this. The roster construction, I've heard you say it a gazillion times, as currently constructed, can't get them there. And you have to continue. I'm not saying Cashman's awful, but at some point, where do you look back and go, hey, you know what? Nothing's changed. What's the definition of insanity? Why are we continuing to do the same thing? You know, and I don't understand why anybody would pitch to Judge and Soto. You take them out of the lineup, it's anemic at best.
I would agree with that. The one thing that the Yankees have not been able to solve is the injury situation. So LeMahieu got hurt in spring training, fouling a ball off his foot. I don't know how you protect that. And that set him back. So we don't even know if this is the real LeMahieu. Anthony Rizzo trips over a pitcher, falls down, breaks his fall, breaks his arm. Is that injury prone? Stanton is injury prone. As long as he's on your roster, you're going to have to guard against this. And the Yankees did have a guard against it. Guy by the name of Jason Dominguez. And then he got hurt. And I think that the fact that they couldn't score a lot of runs anymore put pressure on their pitching staff, and their pitching staff took a step back. So I don't know if this is 22 again. I know that there's a chance for them to get healthy. There's a chance for Stanton to come back. There's a chance for Rizzo to come back. That changes the complexion of the team. There's a chance Dominguez comes back. So I think this is a much better team than the one in 22. Let's go to Matt in Long Island City.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Michael. Hey, Peter. Michael, you mentioned before Rodon and saying he's not a bust. I agree with you. He's not a bust yet, but I think he is tracking to be a bust. And I think it's inaccurate to compare Heel to Rodon because Heel has found money. Heel is just like nobody expected him to be good. Whereas Rodon, you gave him all this money. I mean, the reason Ellsbury is a bust is not because necessarily his performance is a performance relative to the contract. So I think Rodon is on a track to be a bust. I mean, despite the hot start to this year, if you combine the 2 years overall, it's not been good compared to what we signed him for.
I would agree with you, Matt. Last year was a bust. This year got off to a great start. Now he's had 3 bad starts in a row. He has 4 years left on his contract. What would happen if he didn't pitch well the rest of this year? and then goes out and wins two, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, 2 Cy Young Awards in the next 4 years. Is he a bust then? I mean, again, you can't make minute rice decisions on players. You got to let the contract breathe. You know, over the length of his contract, you know what? Jacoby Ellsbury was terrible. It was a bust. I'm not going to say that about Rodon. I've seen what Rodon could do. I saw what he did his last year with the White Sox. I saw what he did with the San Francisco Giants. I'm not going to declare him a bust. Year 2 of a 6-year contract. Now, I know because of the money that he makes, you expect more out of him. He didn't pay himself that money. The Yankees did. And the Yankees paid him that money on the premise that he was going to pitch like he did with the White Sox and with the Giants. My only concern with Carlos Rodon is health. If he's healthy, he'll be fine. He's got good enough stuff to pitch very well in baseball. If he's not healthy like he was last year, then that's an issue. He wasn't healthy early in his career with the White Sox. Then he turned it around. Then he dominated with the Giants. And then he got hurt last year. But I'm not going to sit here and insult all of you by declaring somebody a bust halfway through his 2nd year of a 6-year contract. I don't get it. I don't get how people do that. It doesn't make sense to think like that. It's foolhardy is what it is.
Oh, nothing I hate more than foolhardy.
I know. You've always told me that. Privately, too.
Yeah, it bothers me.
You know what doesn't bother you? Good old Dodge.
Oh, Michael, I knew that you were going to say that. It's such a great point by you. And it is Peter for Security Dodge, Long Island Ram.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Hi, I'm Greg. I live in Bloomington, Illinois. I'm not an actor. I'm just a regular person. Some people say, why should I take Prevagen? I don't have a problem with my memory. Memory loss is not something that occurs overnight. I started noticing subtle lapses in memory. I want people to know that Prevagen has worked for me. It's helped my memory. It's helped my cognitive qualities. Give it a try. I want it to help you just like it has helped me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
Stay straight for the next 200 miles.
Get into an Audi and go your own way. Find your way to exceptional offers during the Summer of Audi sales event at your local Audi dealer.
That's Aaron Judge. Yeah.
Sometimes you get the feeling you're watching a Hall of Famer right in the middle of his prime.
We're going to need a longer tape measure.
A monster blast.
My dad, he's a double amputee, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. To me, a hero is someone who fights for our country and freedom. My dad is a hero. Homes for Our Troops built this house, and it's basically made for him. My dad can get through the wide doorways. When he is making our lunch, he can reach anything we need. He'll help me build tiny projects. Life is good here. Without Homes for Our Troops, we'd be living in a home that didn't have all these features that helped him.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives.
If they get a new house like this one, it'll help them do normal life. My dad's not just a hero, he's my hero.
Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
This is a keepsake frame. This is actually a photo from my wedding. I'm Adam Weiss, founder and CEO of Keepsake, the mobile app that makes it easy to have your photos printed, framed, and shipped to your doorstep. You just choose a photo that you love, you can preview it in over 100 frames, and in a couple of days, you're gonna receive your photo in a beautiful, handmade frame. So if you've got a special photo on your phone, install the free Keepsake app. We would love a chance to frame it for you.
This summer, snacking just got serious. Introducing new $3 footlong dippers. The world might not be ready for them.
But at $3 a pop, your wallet definitely is.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
Make this a summer to share and save during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event in the 3-row Kia Sorrento, the tech-forward Sportage, the available all-wheel drive Seltos, or the IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus Telluride, each one recommended by Consumer Reports. This summer, visit your local Kia dealer and save. Lease a specially tagged 2024 Seltos LX for $189 a month.
The Community Food Bank of New Jersey is the state's largest anti-hunger organization. We provide nutrition. We provide support. We provide opportunity. We can't do it without you. Go to cfbnj.org to join us today.
Self-inflicted gunshot, 14-year-old male.
Just tell me to breathe. He's not.
Well, listen up, baseball fans. ESPN New York is giving you the chance to score an amazing road trip and travel with the home team when New York visits Miami. You and a guest can enjoy the weekend with round-trip airfare and hotel accommodations. For official rules and to enter, visit the ESPN New York app and click on Travel with the Home Team, all brought to you by Corona, the official cerveza of Major League Baseball, and C4 Energy. Crack open a can of C4 Performance Energy for a sip of the official energy drink of summer. Okay, I'm a little bit confused here, and we're going to have to bring in our brilliant producer, Anthony Pusick, to maybe give me some clarity. I swear by Larry Brooks. He's the Hall of Fame hockey columnist for the New York Post. And for most of the back half of last week, he was writing with certitude that Jacob Trouba was gone, that the trade was going to be to Detroit, and the Rangers were going to eat about $2.5 million of the salary, and you know, it was the. I mean, he wrote it. He's rarely wrong, if ever. And then it turns out that he kind of retracted everything today, that the deal wasn't done. So I'm not quite sure what happened. I was reading his story today, where he said, well, Trouba's wife is a medical, a doctor who's in training, and you know that's why he had a no trade clause at the beginning. But now that's why they probably won't. Why? He's got 15 teams he could block. That means there's a lot of teams that he can't block. Why? If they wanted to get rid of the guy, why wouldn't they just trade him? Now they were sending him to Detroit, where he actually played in college and grew up. So what happened here, Anthony? I don't quite get it.
Make it make sense, Anthony.
I wish I can give you a better answer than I don't know, Michael. Now, what Larry also said in there was the residency thing with Trouba's wife is very interesting. They just had a baby, and the no-move clause that was in his contract, not a no-trade, but a no-move, was going to go up to when her residency ended. There was a year gap that was taken. I don't know why. And now the no-move clause is no longer in effect. He has to submit his 15-team no-trade list, and he could have got traded this year when her residency doesn't end until next year.
So they're just doing him a nice thing?
Well, that's the other thing I don't know, Michael, because what Larry also said, like you said, Saturday it looked like done deal. He had the terms. I mean, he said that was going to retain salary. This is stuff that Larry doesn't very rarely get wrong. And then it went from, remember all that stuff I said? That was never on the table. Trouba never even rejected a deal. And now that the world knows, or that everybody knows, that Trouba would feel a way about leaving New York with his wife and his new baby with her residency here, teams aren't really seeming to have an appetite to trade for him because he's either going to be unhappy or possibly, and we don't know this to be true, not report.
Okay, so if that's the case, and I mean, this is the big boy business, okay? They love Barclay Goodrow, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they got rid of him.
Yes.
Because that was the thing they felt they had to do. So if they feel that Trouba has to go and also to clear some cap space, why do you have to be a nice guy? Also, and if he refuses to report, you know what? He doesn't get paid.
Right, and something I thought that was interesting from the Zoom call that Drury had yesterday, because free agency started yesterday, when asked about Barclay Goodrow, he said, Barclay knows how I feel about him. Well, he knows how you feel about him. You also waived him, and he didn't want to be waived.
Right.
They asked him about Jacob Trouba. Jacob knows how I feel about him. Well,
what does that mean now?
If that's how he felt about Goodrow. And the $8 million is huge, Michael, but the other thing now is the Rangers could have used that cap space and weaponized it during free agency. All the big free agents are gone.
Right.
I would think now, and I'm just guessing pretty much like everybody else at this point, that all indications are Jacob Trouba is staying on this team. Now, it also is reported that the bad blood that was between them is also not a thing. They've had amicable conversations.
But how should he feel when he knows that they were shopping him?
Or were they? Because Larry said that shop may not have happened. The no-trade list had to be submitted by July 1st anyway. It was this first year of the no-trade list. So when everybody said that they were asking for his list, that was going to happen by July 1st anyway. That's just standard procedure. Now, what Larry made it seem like, or what the reports were, was that they were using that to say, all right, let's go ask the teams that aren't on the list. Now, with Jacob knowing this, since he had to submit it on July 1st, did he now put the Red Wings on the list, knowing that that was a team that wanted him? Is he putting teams on the list that he knows have interest in him and saying, I don't want to go to these teams, and there's 15 other teams that don't want $8 million for the next 2 years on their deal? I have no idea. It's very, very confusing to everybody. Everybody's feeling a way about it, and I don't even know what the reception is going to be like for him because there's so much unknown here. All we could say now is Larry's reporting, no deal, never rejected, and it looks like Jacob Trouba is going to be here at least for 1 year.
And this is a guy who's so great at what he does. And he wrote as if it was a deal, and now all of a sudden there's no deal. Something doesn't seem right, because Brooks is never wrong.
We're missing something.
Yeah.
Something is amiss here, and I truly, and Don might do a podcast with me tomorrow, Game Misconduct, wherever you get your podcasts. Maybe he could shed more light than me. I'm very confused as to what's transpired over the last 7
By the way, this is the most important piece here. I mean, listen, the Trouba of it all, it's whatever. But Michael, are you aware that yesterday on his first day on vacation, Don did his Game Misconduct podcast?
And he's doing it again tomorrow. I don't get it. Antonio in New Jersey. Antonio.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's your thoughts on this?
Well, first off, I'm in your camp. I believe that what Larry Brooks writes is mainly the gospel, that he doesn't miss.
Right.
He vets his sources. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best. So I believe on that. I think that Jacob Trouba cannot be a Ranger going into opening night. All the fans, we all know it. We all know the backstory. We all know the thing with the wife and the residency and how it skipped a year. He's going to be mercilessly booed. Like, we didn't like him that much as it was. Now add this, it's going to be a mess if this guy's still on the team in October.
Well, the one thing, Antonio, I mean, he's not a bad player. He's a good player. So, I mean, they're not going to boo there. If he's on the team, I don't see the wisdom of booing him. I mean, you could boo whoever you want, but if he plays well, that'll be turned around right away.
Yeah, but he's a third-pair defenseman making $8.5 million, and
he's also a captain.
He's a captain of the team too.
That's not nothing.
Yeah, but he also this was a very pivotal free agency period for the Rangers, and all of these players they really needed went right by the wayside. And people, whether it's right or not, whether it's incorrect, they're going to point their fingers at him and his wife, kind of. Like it's not.
But I hear what you're saying, and we thank you for the call. But that's a Drury problem. He messed it up.
Well, Jeff Gorton has some hands in some of these contracts as well, but
is Chris Drury. So if he doesn't bring in somebody at the free agent market because there's no cap space, well, he couldn't clear the cap space.
My issue with what everybody's saying about this is the players that you wanted, Steven Stamkos, Pavel Buchnevich even, they're making $8 million a year. Jonathan Marchessault is on a very big deal in Nashville. Who are the guys that you were giving term and long-term money to when the rest of your core is locked up for the next 2 years? Like, I understand that fans wanted change, but if this team goes into the regular season with cap space, something they very rarely have. They're always at the top of the cap, and they can never make any moves in season. You have a roster that was good enough to win the President's Trophy in the division last year. Yes, teams are getting better, but if you're good enough at the deadline to say, we know what we're missing and we need to improve, and a wing comes along on a disgruntled team, and you have the ability to move money, something you never have the ability to do, I think it's going to be okay. Riley Smith is not going to excite anybody, but this team is not much worse off than they were last year, and it was pretty good up until the playoffs. They do need to get better by the playoffs, but there is a deadline to do that.
And they won. They were 6 wins short of winning the Stanley Cup. So
it's not nothing. It's
they're
not
that far away.
Hear, but
all right, we'll come back. We got a lot more to discuss. Break down the Mets and their victory yesterday and how they're playing and what their next move should be. So much to do. Please do it with us right here on Yes on 98.7 ESPN.
The finest premium arena club in the world comes alive in Brooklyn. Welcome to Crown Club, the Brooklyn Nets' most exclusive club in Barclays Center. Featuring a menu curated by a major food group with Carbone classics and a world-class wine list. To learn more about premium memberships at Barclays Center, visit brooklynnets.com/crown-club.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your life, your career, and everything in between that we've uncovered. They're all centered on numbers. Some of the numbers might be familiar to you, but they all add up to tell your story. What do you want fans to think about when they see the number 23?
I wanted to be somebody different on the field, to be just known for baseball.
The Story of My Number, presented by the New York Lottery. Streaming now exclusively on the Yes app.
Anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so.
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
With the Freestyle Libre 3 system, know your glucose levels. No finger sticks needed. All with the world's smallest and thinnest sensor. Manage your diabetes with more confidence and lower your A1C. Try it for free at freestylelibre.us.
Hi. Deprioritized.
But it's a work call.
Oh, a work call? Oh. Deprioritized.
T-Mobile home internet relies on cell phone towers, so when their network gets busy,
Not the fridge. Come on.
you can be deprioritized.
It's too bad. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Forget T-Mobile cell phone internet. Get home internet that puts you first. Get Spectrum.
Introducing Domino's new New York-style pizza, the biggest star of your next pizza night. It's made with our fresh, never-frozen dough that's stretched thin, then topped with melty provolone cheese and cut into 6 big, foldable slices. For the perfect balance of crust, sauce, cheese, and toppings in every tasty bite. So why keep your taste buds waiting? For a limited time, you can get large New York-style pizzas with 3 toppings for only $10.99 or 2 medium 2-topping New York-style pizzas for only $6.99 each at Domino's.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years. When I have customers come in and ask for something for memory, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription. And I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really worked so good for me. Makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
What's your favorite part of a Kit Kat bar? The chocolate?
Nope. The inside.
The wafers?
No, the stuff in between the wafers.
Oh, the in-between stuff.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat. And try a bigger bite with Big Cat.
Stay straight for the next 200 miles.
Get into an Audi and go your own way.
your way to exceptional offers during the Summer of Audi sales event at your local Audi dealer.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
It's been great. Michael and Peter with you until 6:30 on this Tuesday. Mets against the Nationals, Yankees against the Reds tonight in the Bronx. But we want to deviate just a moment from the baseball and go to Egypt.
Wait. All right.
So it has been found out by several people that the reason that Aaron Rodgers missed the mandatory minicamp was because he had a trip to Egypt planned.
Okay.
Now, as far as I know, Peter, I don't think this is one of those things where you go to TripAdvisor the day before and plan a trip to Egypt, which is the thing that makes me just befuddled about what happened with him missing this. So he had to know this well ahead of time. Well ahead of time. And he probably told the Jets well ahead of time.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, okay.
It doesn't come out until the first day of mandatory minicamp where they tell you, oh, yeah, by the way, Hassan Reddick's not here, and neither is Aaron Rodgers. Okay. All of it doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Let's listen to our front office expert from ESPN, Mike Tannenbaum, and his thoughts on the situation.
I really think the mistake happened in late January, early February. Again, just to take the audience behind the scenes here, every head coach sits down, puts the off-season calendar together, and there's not a huge mystery about mandatory minicamp that every team has. It's typically the first, second week in June, and I've seen it for over 2 decades where the head coach will talk to, the key stakeholders, coordinators that may have a personal event, a wedding in the family, a graduation. Things come up, life happens, big trips, and you certainly sit there with your franchise quarterback and say, hey, what does your schedule look like? Typically, it could be, a trip, endorsements, whatever it may be, and you just figure out a way like, hey, when can you be here? And you knock it out, and it's a non-issue. And, as I said, look, at the end of the day, him missing a couple of days in June, is that going to be outcome determinative of the season? Probably not. But the fact that they weren't on the same page with that would be a concern.
So make it make sense for me, Peter. Again, missing the 2 games, the 2 days, it will not, as he said, be determinative of the outcome of the season. But it's an awful, awful look. So did he not know in January that he was going to Egypt in June? This is a trip that obviously you plan. It meant a lot to him. Now, if he told the Jets like 2 weeks before, and at that point you can't do that to other players and move the mandatory minicamp up, because it's not fair to other people that have plans. So if he did that, then he's a jerk, and he's just being that guy. But if they knew this earlier and they did not nip it in the bud and change the time of the camp, then that's on them. I just don't understand any of it, Peter. It doesn't make sense. Again, it's not a big deal in the in the grand scheme of things. But it is a big deal in terms of mismanagement, or Rodgers not caring about missing this mandatory. Look up mandatory, everybody, before you defend him. This mandatory minicamp. But he was there for the voluntary, but he wasn't there for the mandatory. Why, Peter? Why?
I don't understand it either. It seems to me like this would have been so easily solvable, by either party, right? Rodgers could have easily said, you know what, it's going to make the most sense. Let me plan my trip to see the pyramids for another time. I have enough of a window that I could do it at another time. Michael, I think he could afford the change fees with Delta.
Yes.
And then at the same time, if you're the Jets, why even bother sort of saying it's inexcused part? Because essentially it was excused. Maybe it's just the rules. They have to declare it that way. But the whole way that it was done, this just was as clunky as humanly possible. Unless for some reason, Robert Saleh, and this doesn't make it less clunky, but maybe it makes it more understandable. unless Robert Saleh felt like his hands were tied, Michael. He felt like he had to say it was okay, even though it wasn't okay with him. And maybe even he suggested, could you do it another time? And when he got pushed back, it became clear this was just going to be the way it was. And so the reason it was handled in such a clunky fashion is because he was not thrilled with it. That's the only other thing I can think of. Otherwise, Michael, what an unforced error by the Jets during the offseason for no reason when you're trying to sort of reset here going into year 2 of the Rodgers project.
And it's one of two things. It's an unforced error by the Jets or an unforced, or should I say forced error by Rodgers.
Exactly.
I mean, again, he could have pushed the trip off 2 days. And we wouldn't be talking about this. We'd be talking about something that is important, Hassan Reddick not being in camp. So that is also a bad look for the Jets. They made a trade for a guy. He supposedly told them he was very cool with playing the contract that he's under, and then he said, no, I'm not going to do that. So the Jets just keep jetsing. They keep looking like the Jets. And I can't wait till Rodgers does report the camp and tries to explain this away, because you know what? He'll talk down to everybody that asked him about it. It's not a big deal. They knew I was going. Well, then it's a big deal that the Jets don't know what they're doing, because they made this a thing. And as Peter said, calling it an unforced, what's the phrase?
Unforced error?
No, not unforced error. Unexcused absence?
Oh, yeah.
It makes it look worse. Because you didn't even have to use that phrase. Listen, I spoke to Rodgers. We knew what was going on. We understand. He's not here, but we get it. We're on the same page. But once you use unexcused, then it looks like he did something bad. And again, it didn't have to be this way. There's no way that he made this trip up 2 or 3 days before he left. Doesn't make sense, because, again, he was there the day before the mandatory aspect of it, taking team pictures. He's an odd duck. He really is an odd duck.
Oh, yeah. And listen, the people out there, apparently there are a lot of them. We've talked to them, prominent guests on our show, who seem to feel it's a big, old nothing burger. But some people don't feel that way. So because of that, and knowing the media market you're in, and knowing the scrutiny that's brought to Rodgers and that he brings upon himself, don't you want to do everything you can to just keep things quiet before we can at least get to week 1 of the preseason?
You would think, because he's the one who keeps talking about no distraction. And all he is a distraction. Although when you talk to Saleh about it, not within these walls, nonsense. And also, one of the big defenses of Rodgers, none of his teammates said, when we had Chris Russo on, none of his teammates have the standing to say anything about a future Hall of Famer. None of them, including Sauce Gardner. None of them, and none of them have the guts or the intestinal fortitude to criticize this guy. None of them. So they might be red hot about it. They wouldn't say a peep because they're afraid to say something about Aaron Rodgers. He'll get you run out of town. So please don't use that as some kind of affirmation that everybody's on the same page. Nobody, including coaches, has the guts to say Aaron Rodgers was dead wrong for doing this. No one, even if they felt that way. You think Robert Saleh, who's here this year because Aaron Rodgers likes him, that he would come out and say, we're really upset with Aaron. He should not have done this. Now, he could be upset with him, and maybe he is, and that's why he used unexcused absence. And unexcused absence. Maybe he used that phrase because he was upset, but he's not going to come out and say, I'm upset. He's just not. Nobody has the cojones to do that, including Woody Johnson. They're deathly afraid of this guy. He had to go to Egypt then. He's got all offseason to plan his trip. All. He knows when camp starts, so you know you've got a month before camp where there's nothing to do. He had to make it that close to when mandatory mini camps are. Maybe Don's right, what he always says. He's just that guy. He's swinging it around. Nobody's stopping me from doing anything. I'm Aaron Rodgers. Dave in Queens. Dave.
Mike, thanks, brother. Yeah, hey, guys. Yeah, you just said it, Mike and Pete. Hey, boss, can I join? Let me tell you, like he had about 90 days to book it and go to Egypt, and he had to be that guy. He knows in the summer they do a camp. He's been around forever, and he is that guy. You just said my point, Mike. And thank you. And I wanted to say yesterday was 20 years that Jeter play into the stand.
Yeah.
When he cut his face, and it was ironic that Nimmo he cuts his little forehead or his big forehead, whatever his head size is, and he cuts it on the 20th anniversary of Jeter. And the thing is, Jeter played the next day. Jeter never missed a game, and Nimmo misses a little game, and there's more to that story. And thank you, guys. And I am right, Pete. I'm right.
Wow. It was just unnecessary. I mean, you don't have to compare the Jeter play running into the stands to Nimmo having an unfortunate accident when he faints. I mean, I don't know that. Listen, you're, no offense, random caller, I guess you can say there's more to that story. ESPN employee, I'm not going to get on the air and say there's more to that story. I didn't even, frankly, Michael, that didn't cross my mind. I mean, people faint for a million reasons, Michael. Sometimes it was the middle of the night. Sometimes people get up and stretch and faint. So there's a million reasons he could have fainted in the middle of the night.
It's funny, Peter. I read that story, right?
Yeah.
And it has become, as you get older, there are things that you fear. And you do get dizzy sometimes at night. And when you go to the bathroom, if you pass out in the bathroom, you know how many things are there that could kill you? I mean, if you happen to fall forward and smash your head on the sink, you're dead. He's lucky he's not more hurt.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Was it just fortunate that it wasn't more to it? And listen, people, it could have been low blood sugar. It could have been he was half asleep.
It could have been dehydrated. There's so many things that could make you faint.
Yeah, listen, I give you a hard time, Michael, because it's fun and you're so like obvious about how you're crazy. I spend a lot of time fearing health stuff constantly. So I do worry about stuff like that. And yeah, I just hope Nimmo's okay. But that was just such a mean, needless Yankee thing to do, to hate on poor Brandon Nimmo on the anniversary. But back to the Rogers of it all. Back to the Rogers. It's just the people wanting to give him a pass. It's like, you know, Russo said it to us. Oh, is anyone going to say anything at all if they have a great year? No, I guess you're right. But are they going to have a great year? And are they going to be able to do that?
See, but that's a sketchy comeback, because Barry Bonds, whatever he did, boy, it paid off for him. Hit 73 home runs in a season. People will say stuff, even if he does succeed. If you go about it the wrong way, you're going to have stuff said about you. You just are. Nobody gets a free ride. And the fact that Jet fans, and I understand, because he's all they have, Jet fans give this guy a free ride. He's done nothing for them. He's played 4 plays for them. And they defend him as if he's Joe Namath. He's done nothing. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. If they don't win a Super Bowl with this guy, what a colossal mistake. And I was all for them trading for him. But if they don't win a Super Bowl with this guy, what a mess. You know what I've also thought about, Peter? Rubber rooming my bathroom.
I like that thought.
Like no hard edges, no porcelain, all like something soft.
It is a scary thought, man. You hit the wrong spot.
Dead.
I mean,
dead. And if you're alone, nobody's going to find you. And you hope that if your wife is there, she hears the crash. But if you're allowed to bleed out, you're dead. He was out cold, he said, for like 11 minutes before he called the trainer. I mean, for someone to say there's something else there. God.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, what does he mean? That he was drunk?
He's not that guy. He's not that guy. Let's go to Moose in Jamaica.
Afternoon, gentlemen. Michael.
How you doing?
Just coming back home from work. Quickly, projections for the Jets season, regardless of the controversy with Aaron Rodgers. I personally see the Jets season, their ceiling being 12-5, 11-6, and their floor being 8-9. And I like to borrow what David Coney says about baseball pitching and starters.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like in the NFL, if you're not a juggernaut and you're on the brink of maybe being a contender, every five games you beat teams you're supposed to beat, 5 games you lose teams you're supposed to lose to, and the other 5 is either or. So I really think the Jets season depends on their discipline, coaching, and how they perform and not make the mistakes of previous seasons to really ascend and be considered a contender come playoff time. And one more thing, this is for you, Michael. What do you think is more impressive about Aaron Judge? Doing what he did in 2022 with nobody pitching to him, nobody else in the second half of the season supporting him offensively, protecting him, and breaking the record with all the pressure to do it, with all the numerical sort of, idiosyncrasies of like mirroring of 61 years later, 62, or doing it now with a messed up toe where all his power comes from, but yet it seems to not be diminished. Thanks for taking my call.
He said that the toe is always going to bother him for the rest of his career. We have no idea how bothersome it is. I think there's nothing that would be more impressive to me than what he did in 2022. To go into that season without a contract and know you got to lay it on the line, that's impressive to me. Peter, he showed up. He had to put up numbers in order to get the contract that he wanted. If he had a terrible year, he was not getting $360 million for 9 years. He just wasn't. There's no bigger pressure than that. And he performed like very few have ever performed. So 22 is more impressive than me. This year, he's got Soto as, a partner in crime. He's on base a lot. So I worry that in the second half of the season, people are going to come to their senses and not pitch to him until the people behind him make them pay for it.
Yeah, that would be so disappointing and such like a broken record. Another half season where the only thing going is Aaron Judge, which, by the way, you have to sort of include when you want to try to start comparing him to other greats. I mean, do me a favor. Look at who surrounded Derek Jeter in the lineup. Derek Jeter was not the person they had to worry about most of the time.
And that was the thing that got Alex Rodriguez in trouble with him. Because he said in that magazine story, he said, when we go into a season with a series at the Yankees, we're not worried about Derek Jeter beating us. We're worried about Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez. And Jeter took offense to it, and that's really the beginning of the end of their relationship.
But by the way, A-Rod maybe he shouldn't have been the guy to say it, but he was not wrong.
Let's go to Tim in Seaford. What's up, Tim?
Michael, how are you?
Good.
Peter, how are you? Big fan.
Hey.
Big fan for a long time.
Thanks.
Couple things. 67 years old. Been a Yankee fan forever. Number one, you're talking about falling in the shower. At 30 years old, I had a cold. Got up in the middle of the night to put some water on my face. I had a fever. I fell through the shower glass door.
Oh.
Woke up like 10 minutes later, glass all over, cuts all over my arm. So it happens.
And you were 30 and in good health, just had a cold.
Yep.
Wow, man.
Glad you're with us.
The time I met Joe Namath, by the way.
Please, tell us.
When you talk about random meetings. So I was in the restaurant, the Green Kitchen Diner on the east side of New York.
Oh, I know that place. I've eaten there.
You know that place?
Yes, good place.
I'm in there with my family. I grew up on the east side. We moved out to Long Island, but we went to see our cousins. 1968, Joe Namath walks in.
Wow.
I have posters of Joe Namath all over my room, along with Walt Frazier, okay? I'm like, Mom, look at him. Look at. She goes, go get his autograph. I said, I don't want to meet him. And he walked in with a friend of his. I said, okay. So I walk over, napkin and a pen. I said, Mr. Namath, I'm a big fan of yours. He says, sit down, buddy. Okay?
Wow.
That was in 68. And John Schmidt, his center, went to my parish in Merrick, New York. I told him about John Schmidt. He said, he's my buddy. He protects me. So he started talking to me, gave me his autograph, talked to me for 10 minutes. The nicest guy.
How old were you then?
I'll never forget that. I was 10.
That's awesome.
That is a story.
Yeah.
See, that tells you the type of guy he is.
Man, you must have been high. You must have been high for weeks.
Oh, yes. And I went to the Super Bowl. I didn't go to the Super Bowl. I watched Super Bowl at my friend's house. I was the only Jet fan there. 12 kids just making fun of me. The Jets were going to get their butts kicked. And look what happened.
Good story. Thanks for calling, Tim. That's awesome. That tells you a lot about Namath.
Not surprising, though.
He's terrific. Roxanne in Montclair. Roxanne.
I'm calling because of the caller who called before about what happened to Nemo and the fainting. There is an issue that often comes to ERs, And it always happens in the morning, just as it happened to Nemo, after a person has been asleep and after they have gone to the bathroom and after they have washed their hands. There is something about the hand washing after the long sleep that causes a condition called overstimulation of the vagus nerve. This is not known precisely what causes it, but it invariably leads to fainting, which can cause a person to fall and hit their head, which, as it always happens in the bathroom or in a kitchen, where there tends to be harder floors. This exactly what happened to him is a classic example of overstimulation of the vagus nerve. And no thing is like whatever else you might choose to think happened to him. Nothing else is responsible for this except for that phenomenon of hand washing after a long sleep and then going to the bathroom and washing your hands.
Well, thank you, Roxanne. But this does prove one thing to me, Peter. You shouldn't wash your hands after going to the bathroom, especially in your own house.
That is what you're gonna.
That's what I'm taking from it, and I think you should too.
That's not what I took from.
Do you wash your hands when you go to the bathroom in the middle of the night?
Yes.
You really do.
I just at least spray some water.
I don't get it.
It's just
why did you urinate on your hands?
It's just built in, man.
Well, don't do it. She just told you about the Las Vegas nerve.
I don't like going back to my bedroom without washing my hands.
Okay, now we're going to hear about you banging your head.
I hope not. I don't wish your evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I hope that's not true.
Do you know what? When we have kids, you always childproof the house.
I've heard of that.
On hard corners, you put
yeah, the little rubber things.
I think you should adult-proof your house.
I know, as you get older, because you never know what's going to happen at any given time.
Not even older. The guy is 30 years old. Life is full of things that could happen to you. Bad things.
But here's where you start losing me. Because you're right, but then you start obsessing. Like, calm down. Let's not. Yes, you're right. Life is filled with things that can happen to you, and it's very scary. But we can't spend all of our time thinking about it, Michael.
Well, then you know what you should do, though, is just cut out the bathroom trips. You put on a diaper for the overnight.
Well, you're now you're getting very specific. Like, the bathroom is the biggest problem we face.
It's a big problem.
But there's other things in the world besides the bathroom.
Oh, every time you step out, there's something bad.
But that's the thing. I don't like thinking about things that way, and I think you do think about things.
But I don't like to.
But you do.
But I do. But I don't like to. You said you don't like thinking about it, but I don't like to. But I'm rational and I think about everything.
But that's not being rational either.
It's being totally
rational.
Rational
Is the wrong word. No, that's not rational. Living in the obsession that negative things can happen, I don't think is rational. I think
believe
it's
it
obsessive.
is.
No.
You know what? Let's think about this. And we'll come back and break it down for the people and continue to take phone calls. We have a big ENN at 6.
Oh, you kidding me?
It's Kay Rosenberg and you. Kay Rosenberg. Lovely girl. Right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center.
At Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, being the Northeast's best cancer center means being the best for you. Pairing the most advanced treatments with the most compassionate treatment. It takes looking at every cancer from every angle. And a care team that looks out for you and everyone you care for. It takes MSK.
Hi, Mel. Is now good for a quick catch-up on your plan?
Yes, now's great.
Has anything changed since we last spoke?
You know what? Yes, I'm thinking more long-term.
Great. We'll make that change to your plan and adjust as needed.
This helps a lot.
Bye, Mel.
Bye. Make sense of your money with Citizens.
You're living with roommates and managing fine.
even if this one bedroom is shared by 9. Ooh, that's a lot of people. Just remember to take life one spoonful at a time and go. Go to your Skippy place.
We're ready. Away we go. And a look at MI New York.
That is a big hit.
Catches the call and catch. It's 100. Bang. There's another.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. Innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions. Telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org.
It's summertime in New York State. Time to get away. Enjoy everything that makes it easy to love New York. Start your getaway at iloveny.com.
This is a keepsake frame. This is actually a photo from my wedding. I'm Adam Weiss, founder and CEO of Keepsake, the mobile app that makes it easy to have your photos printed, framed, and shipped to your doorstep. You just choose a photo that you love, you can preview it in over 100 frames, and in a couple of days, you're gonna receive your photo in a beautiful, handmade frame. So if you've got a special photo on your phone, install the free Keepsake app. We would love a chance to frame it for you.
Do you spend hours maintaining your gutters? Save that time with LeafGuard's maintenance-free system. Call 1-833-2-GUTTERS. Mesh filters sit on top of your gutters, building up debris and eventually clogging. Then they need to be cleaned too. Honestly, your home should have been built with LeafGuard gutters. LeafGuard's wraparound hood deflects debris and keeps water away from your home. The one-piece seamless system is strong, 20% thicker than average, and built to last. Plus, LeafGuard is guaranteed to never clog for as long as you own your home. Right now, get a complete LeafGuard system for only $99 down, $99 a month, and $99 installation. You'll also receive a $100 Visa gift card with a free gutter inspection and in-home estimate. Damage from clogged gutters can cost you thousands. Never worry about clogged gutters again. Don't wait, you've still got time. Call 1-833-2-GUTTERS today. That's 1-833-2-GUTTERS.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
For Diamond Notes, brought to you by London Jewelers and driven by Nissan. Gave you the Yankee lineup earlier, and Juan Soto is in there. Aaron Boone just said that Soto is in a good spot with his right hand, which a lot of people were worried about after he had that slide into home plate in Toronto. Not sure if he did the imaging today, but Boone saying he's in a good spot would lead you to believe that they definitely did something to find out that he's okay, because he is in there, and that's one of the big worries that the Yankees had, because you can't afford to lose either of those two guys. You just can't. Christian Scott and Jose Budo called up to help the Mets bullpen and the rotation against the Nationals. And I'm going to tell you what, Peter, it's great that the Mets have played the way they've played. They're the hottest team in baseball in June. They've thrust themselves right back into the playoff race. But Met fans and the Met organization, I think their only choice is to stay with what they have and not trade anybody and maybe even look to add. But in the long run, they have to ask themselves, are we good enough to win a World Series? Now, with their pitching, they're not. Now, you could say, well, the Diamondbacks won 84 games, and they went to the World Series. Diamondbacks had great starting pitching. Mets don't have great starting pitching, and they certainly have a bad bullpen. So, in the long run, Peter, you're going to ask yourself, what would have been better for the Mets? In a trade market where people desperately need offense, what could they have gotten for J.D. Martinez? What could they have gotten for Pete Alonso? They can't trade them now. They shouldn't trade them now. You got to go for it. Even making the playoffs and losing in 2 games in the wild card, it's well worth it. Well worth it. What could they have gotten for Luis Severino when people are looking for starting pitching? They have desirable assets that now they can't trade. I mean, how do you explain that to your fan base if you trade these guys? I don't think you can. Now, here's something good that has come out of this run. This was all about building up their young people. Alvarez is a stud. And you know what? Vientos has shown that he can hit in the big leagues. So in the last 23 games, they're 17-6. They score 6.7 runs per game. They're hitting 286 in a sport where they don't hit 240 on average. They have 41 home runs in 23 games. And the team ERA is not bad, 3.98. That's with a porous bullpen. So it's kind of a rock and a hard place situation for the Mets. For the long-term health, it would have been interesting to see what you could get for J.D. Martinez, a professional hitter, when every team in baseball needs more offense. What you have gotten for Pete Alonso, what you have gotten for Luis Severino, but you can't make those deals now. Peter, you can't. You have to let it roll. You have to see what you could do. They're at 500. They're 41-41. They're a game and a half out of the final wild card, trailing the Cardinals. So it's all right in front of them. So, I mean, I think it would be professional malfeasance if they made trades now.
Well, I mean, at this point, Michael, I think you look a lot more in the right than Don looked a few weeks ago, certainly, when he was ready to blow this whole thing up. But Don was, of course, coming from the standpoint of a Mets fan who was sort of frustrated with kind of the year after year, all right, I know it's not going the way we want, but let's give it a shot, roll the dice, and see where we land. I think that was just absolute sincere, being at your wit's end as a fan and saying, let's just scrap it, move on. But now, clearly, at this point, in a pretty open league, Michael, with a team that's playing this well offensively, how would you not roll the dice, see if you can make any smart moves to get better this year and give it a shot? Now you have to.
They are in a dangerous position, though. They want to protect their assets, their young players in the minors, and you don't want to give up too much to make a trade for somebody in the bullpen, a guy like Trevor Rogers or a guy like Mason Miller. You're going to have to give up a lot to get those guys. Not as much for Rogers because I believe he's a free agent at the end of the year. But if you want a guy like Mason Miller that's going to make a difference, that's going to take a lot. He has 5 years of control left. You have to hope that Edwin Diaz comes back and is lights out and is a Diaz from 2 years ago. Then you're not pressed as much to make as many bullpen moves. Right now, you've got to make a lot of moves. That bullpen's not good enough. It's just not. Those are Diamond Notes brought to you by London Jewelers. Visit London Jewelers today at any of their 7 locations, including the Americana Mall and the Mall at Short Hills, and driven by Nissan. Hurry in. These epic offers are going fast at the Nissan Thrill of Summer Sales Event. Shop your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com today. We'll get to your phone calls very quickly. The USA is out of Copa America.
Well, that is for sure.
Which is, been played on their soul, their soil. And I marvel at people that are shocked why we can't beat the teams from Europe. Europe's been at this forever. We're novices at it. It would be like some team in Europe getting together and beating the United States in baseball. This is soccer. This is their football. This is their sport. We are so far behind them. And one other thing that you should all realize. Our best athletes in the United States are not playing soccer. When they see that Jason Tatum makes $62 million a year, they're playing basketball. They're playing football. They just are. And an American knows if he's going to be a great, top-of-the-line, unbelievable soccer player, he's not playing in the United States. He's going to be playing in Europe anyway.
Yeah, well, but he should still be playing for Team USA, and they've had some great players who've played overseas and do now, and still aren't able to get it together to not beat teams in Europe, Michael, but to just survive the group stage of Copa America. I mean, I'm sorry. At this point, everything you're saying is true, Michael, and I would accept it more in 94 or 98 or 2002. But as we approach the 2026 Olympics, again, back on U.S. soil 32 years after the last time it was here, they should be at a stage where they can at least make a run and compete in Copa America. To
you think they should be in a position to compete in the World Cup? They're just not that good.
I think they should be thinking about making the quarterfinals in the World Cup. I'm sorry. I think this is unacceptable at this point. I mean, that's an unacceptable performance in the second round of Copa America against Panama. It's just not acceptable. They come out of the gate, they look great against Bolivia, and you think you're completely set up to move on. And it was a stupid mistake and a red card that may have cost them the entire tournament. But also the coaching has not been good. And I hear you, Michael. I'm curious to see, though, whether we see any sort of momentum with athletes over the next 10 years, given the extreme popularity of international soccer players in America now. Listen,
but do you think in America the best athletes are playing soccer? Honestly.
Well, hear me out. Hear me out. If we were to ask callers right now, are the kids in your house obsessed with Messi and Ronaldo? It would be a higher number than we've ever had for soccer players in history. That I do believe. Will that have an impact on the sport? And you're right, the future Jason Tatums, if you want to use that example, deciding to go for it in soccer instead of basketball, I guess that remains to be seen. But I'm just sort of sick of the excuse making of being behind. I mean, soccer's not brand new here.
Yeah, but I get it, Peter. It's not brand new in Europe, baseball, but they can't beat our teams in baseball. It comes down to this.
But way more people play soccer here than play baseball in Europe.
I agree. But one of the reasons that baseball is in a little bit of trouble, it's not fast enough, and they don't score enough for kids. Soccer is just that. They don't score. The games are 1-0, 2-1. I understand the appeal in Europe because they grew up with it. Charlie's obsessed with Messi and Mbappe, all of them. He's got their jerseys. He's not playing soccer. He's playing basketball, baseball, and football. I'm telling you, we are not getting the best athletes to play soccer. It wouldn't make sense if parents are making and parents do believe every one of their kids is going to be professional. If they think they've got a great athlete, they're not pushing that kid towards soccer. They're not. They're just not.
It's funny, though. I feel like I would consider it. I mean, A, in soccer, you have a chance of actually making it. B, from like a physical health standpoint, while there's some concerns around concussions in soccer, I do feel like it's not the worst sport in terms of the danger in playing the game. And if somehow you become the best of the best and can go play in Europe, then you're still rich as can be.
1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Charles in Brooklyn. Charles.
Doing, guys?
Hey, Charles.
How you doing?
Good.
Right,
you?
So one thing about the soccer players, right, I'm a soccer coach. I try to get my son, pretty high level. It's discouraging because here in America, they pay to play. So if there's a star athlete in soccer here, you're going to have to pay your way the whole way, as opposed to Europe or even South America. When you're a star athlete, they're going to fund the whole ride.
Well, how much is it to pay to play, Charles? I'm curious.
Well, it varies. Right? If you get on a traveling team, you're talking about, $200 per season, maybe more, something like that.
But I mean, in defense of soccer, though, Charles, I mean, that's what travel teams are on baseball. It's probably more. Same with basketball. So, I mean, that's the sad part about amateur sports in this country. You got to pay a lot of money.
You got to pay a lot, and you're going to have your kids in multiple leagues because it's not enough just to play once a week. You have your kids in training, then in camps and clinics, and you're paying for all that, right? You go to Brazil, you get a star player, you don't come out of pocket at all. They bring that kid up from the start.
Well, that's a good point. Thanks, Charles.
But you go out of pocket in other sports.
Yes,
here
you do.
Too.
I see it, with my son. Travel baseball, even cheer for Cali. So much money you have to pay. I don't know how people do it. I don't. That are making modest livings. If their kids want to play, I don't know where the money's coming from. I mean, to play travel sports, it's an incredible amount of money. Let's go to Dave in Florida. David.
Yeah, hey guys, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking. Thanks. Yeah, just a couple of quick points. So, from the other day when you guys were talking about, the Met announced team, Hernandez and Darling and the other guy,
Gary.
And I'm a Yankee fan all my life. And I called in once a few months back, and Michael, you weren't there that day, but Don and Peter were there. And I said, so Michael's voice, Michael, your voice, it's like a warm blanket when I'm watching a Yankee game. It just is. And the Yankee team, there's nothing better than, my favorite is when you're with Cohen and O'Neill, but the other guys, Flash and Nelson, and the post-game and the pre-game, Meredith, Bob and Jack, it's unbelievable. So, the Mets have always had great announcers. Lindsey Nelson, Ralph Kiner, Bob Murphy, and Kiner's Corner is famous. But my guys, I'll always quarterback for my guys with the Yankees.
Well, thank you, David. We appreciate your phone call. And I'll tell you this. I am so disgusted with myself.
What happened?
That it became such a big thing. I mean, I don't want to cast any kind of negativity toward Gary, Ron, and Keith, who are great. And then I became public enemy number one to Met fans, which I'm fine with. But, I was down on the Jersey Shore after Jody and I stayed over. I went to a Southside Johnny concert. And people couldn't have been nicer. But, a lot of Yankee fans, a lot of, former cops came up to me. Great people. Had a great time. And, they said, all the Met fans hate you. It was not the intent, to tell you the truth. It was never the intent.
You don't ask me enough stuff. You should run things by me.
What do you mean?
If you should have run that by me before. I would have told you that was going to happen. I'm not good at spotting it for myself, but I could spot it for other people.
Yeah.
No. I would have known.
I mean, I'll survive the blow, but
well, I mean, it wasn't really a blow. It's more just an annoying conversation to have over and over again when people think you have beef with people that you have no issue with at all.
No, that I actually like, and I think they're great, but that's the way they took it, and maybe I didn't articulate it well enough.
It happens to the best of us, and the worst.
You know what bothers me, Peter? I need an answer. Nobody's ever given me an answer. One of my favorite channels on Sirius XM is the Billy Joel channel, and they take it away all the time.
I don't like it.
So it just started again on channel 79 for the month of July. Why isn't there all the time? Tom Petty's there all the time. Bruce Springsteen's there all the time. The Grateful Dead's there all the time. Why is Billy Joel not there all the time? Answer me that.
I don't know why they don't see him as that kind of station.
People love Billy Joel. When the Billy Joel channel's on Sirius XM, sometimes I don't move the dial. Come on, get with it.
I'm sorry that I can't do anything to help you here.
But you know people. You know what? I'm going to call Mel Karmazin. He started Sirius XM.
He should be able to help you with this.
He should give me an explanation. He'll be able to tell me. And we know his son. He's our boss. One of them. All right, I'm going to make a phone call during the break.
Yeah, see what you can fix a full-time Billy Joel station. By the way, you can't just stream his music on Spotify.
Yeah, I get it. But I don't want to program something. I want it just to come wash over me.
You want someone to program it for you.
I want it to wash over me.
Right.
Without my work.
Sure.
I'm going to find out who the point guard is today. We're getting geared up for Big ENN. It's Kay Rosenberg and you right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Stay straight for the next 200 miles.
Get into an Audi and go your own way. Find your way to exceptional offers during the Summer of Audi sales event at your local Audi dealer.
Hi, I'm Sally. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a flight nurse on a helicopter that specializes in trauma. I've been doing flight nursing for 24 years. I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to keep up. I wanted all the boost I could get. I heard about Prevagen from a friend. I read the clinical study on it, and it had good reviews. I've been taking Prevagen now for 5 years, and it's really helped me stay sharp and present. It's really worked for me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
That's Aaron Judge. Yeah. Sometimes you get the feeling you're watching a Hall of Famer right in the middle of his prime.
They're going to need a longer tape measure.
A monster blast.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours and to get our eyes checked regularly. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. So do poor diet choices and poor life choices. But why are we so reckless with our hearing? We take hearing for granted. Hearing damage from loud sounds is permanent, but preventable. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Wear earplugs. Turn it down. Give your ears a rest. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
I'm former Major League pitcher David Wells. Over the years, I've been helping veterans get the medical resources they need and help them overcome their challenges. They've sacrificed so much for our country, and it's our duty to take care of them when they come home. Join us in our mission to end veteran homelessness in America. Please go to T2T.org to donate now.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. Innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions. Telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org.
When your playground is New York City, you've got to find your game, and you've got to find it quick. You've got to raise it higher.
Look at MI New York.
Higher than the stakes. In a city where the world resides, you've got to make their hearts beat as one. You've got to play like you own it.
Catch is the call, and catch, it's 100.
Like you can make countless people agree on one thing. In their many, many ways, agree that you've got game. My New York.
Chris
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. The Yankees' #2 overall prospect, Spencer Jones, was awarded the Eastern League Player of the Week honors for his work with the Somerset Patriots. He doubled in the game seen last night here on Yes against the Reading Fightin' Phils. The 23-year-old has spent this entire season with AA Somerset. He's hitting .252 with 9 homers and 45 ribbies overall for the season. However, in the month of June, he started to heat up, as you could clearly see here by the numbers, hitting close to 300 with an OPS over 900. And his numbers for the last week where he won the Eastern League Player of the Week, he went 9 for 27 with 3 homers and 12 ribbies, and 7 of his 9 hits went for extra bases. This past Sunday, he had a day. He hit 2 homers and drove in 7.
You know what? Well earned by me. I think it's going to be a big week.
Really
for me.
was.
I mean, I've got to win Point Guard on Friday too, right? Because I'm the only one on the show.
Presumably, unless a caller wins it. That was barely even a point. I don't even know. That was just not even. I mean, they just, everyone wants to be in good with you, Michael. What can I say?
And now it's time for you to use the Don line, right? He can't help you.
Oh yeah, he can't do anything for you. Okay. I mean, he's halfway out the door. Look at him. He's not taking you with him.
Steve Gelb's reporting J.D. Martinez has been scratched from tonight's game against the Nationals with a sore left ankle. And some minor league news for the Yankees. The well-regarded infielder Caleb Durbin has been moved to the 60-day injured list.
What the F?
He was on the 10, and they thought he'd be back soon, but I guess not. Let's take some phone calls, Petey.
All right.
Let's go to Chris in the car. Chris, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just want to touch on this whole Brandon Nimmo thing. So I'm 23, played football, baseball my whole life, played a little college football. Good health. I was sitting in my kitchen. My girlfriend was right there, thank God. Rubbed my nose, little nosebleed, whatever. I get up to go get a tissue. Boom! Hit the deck. No idea what happened. Next thing I remember, I'm on the floor getting up. Going, what happened? Hit my head so hard on that tile floor, but it can happen to anyone. It's crazy. You don't even know what's happening.
So what did happen?
I went to the doctor 2 days later. Physical was fine. Blood pressure perfect. EKGs, ran tests. They said may have been a reaction from the blood, but it doesn't make really sense because I've seen my own blood. I mean, playing football and baseball, I've hurt myself, obviously. I don't know. They kind of said it was inconclusive, said might have been a reaction being scared of your blood, but tell you what it happened to me at 23. It happened to anyone.
Was the bloody nose unusual, or you get those too?
No, I mean, I was rubbing my nose, had an itch, and I guess I rubbed it a little hard, and I felt like a little click. I was like, nosebleed, whatever. I even said it to my girlfriend. She's like, just get a tissue, whatever. I stand up, walk over to the sink where the paper towels are, hit the deck.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're okay, Chris. Thank you, man. Let's go to Barbara in Middletown. Barbara.
Hey, thank you for taking my call, Michael and Peter.
Thank you for calling.
I did not get to meet you guys at the Beach Bash, but the Banana Man came through.
Yes, he did. He always does.
Awesome. He does. So with respect to Sirius XM, I'm thinking maybe Billy Joel, since he's ending his residency, he won't be singing live and performing as much. So maybe then people will need the station to be year-round. But those other bands that you mentioned, they're not performing as much as Billy Joel still does. So
well, no, Barbara. I mean, Bruce Springsteen's been on a 2-year. Thank you for the phone call. He's been on a 2-year tour. I mean, by the way, goodbye to Yes. So ENN is a radio. Yes, it is.
That's a wrap on the show for today. Coming up next, our coverage of the Yankees and Reds gets underway with Yankees batting practice today. For all of us here on the Michael K. Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying have a great night. Enjoy the game. We'll see you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
The finest premium arena club in the world comes alive in Brooklyn. Welcome to Crown Club, the Brooklyn Nets' most exclusive club in Barclays Center, featuring a menu curated by Major Food Group with Carbone classics and a world-class wine list. To learn more about premium memberships at Barclays Center, visit brooklynnets.com/crown-club.